You do need to be able to see something. Oh, okay, stop. It's over here until we need it. Why is scry filter turned off? I feel like we lost a bunch of stuff. There's like a lot of stuff turned off.
This is what's going on. Oh, this is here. What's going on?
What's up? I would hope we're not that.
Yeah, what a way to come into this chat.
We are just doing the last minute touch ups we need to do for the stream. You know how things are. Technology is great until it stops working. And it doesn't always tell you when it stops working and why it stops.
Weird.
We aren't, but we will have someone talking to you. Shout out Emery.
Well, I guess I can just do this. Yeah. Don't crop it, but I don't need to see.
As long as you can search.
Yeah.
Can we hear them?
Can we hear them where? In the Discord?
That they just asked if we can hear them.
So if we want to put them through, if we want to put them through, we can go into the call and do it that way.
But you're gonna be
Yeah, I'm in the call.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense for you to just hear, and then if anything comes up that's relevant,
Okay.
share with us. Though, like right now, we can hang out.
Let's go cube players.
Thank you. You don't have to thank us for saying this up. Thank you for being a part of the league, being a part of the Cube group, and being, we would not be able to do this if y'all did not participate and make this really possible and really cool. So,
I mean, we weren't even there.
yeah, seriously. I mean, you just want to start getting into it?
I mean, well, we can, or we can,
We're waiting.
there's like no one's even here. I mean, we can.
So currently we're waiting on Vivian.
Everyone else is in there.
Everyone else is in the chat,
Okay.
ready to go. If you guys want to jump to the call on my Discord, you could do that.
Yeah, let's just talk to them for a minute.
Yep,
and then
let's do it.
So, here. We can just join table 1, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any sound.
Settings.
Oh, sure.
audio, voice and video, and put the output as the speakers, not that speaker, that one.
Want to watch me get
Hey.
pummeled this bad?
There we go.
Okay, we can hear you guys now.
Cool.
Sweet. Anthony, what are you first picking?
Don't fucking worry about it.
Hey, I
Camel-
can't say you.
Candlestick? Anyone? Damn.
Okay. If someone first picks
I'm just gonna
candlesticks,
add a
like I need my
candlestick
first
to my
pick.
deck. Whatever happens.
So how are you feeling, y'all?
Good, good. Excited?
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I'm pumped.
From what y'all have told me about the plans are, I'm very interested to see how this plays out.
Oh, this could be a blast.
Are there people overlapping?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay.
I mean, we could.
That sounds like a yes to me.
I'm gonna argue in a 3-color cube, there's always gonna be some overlap, and that's kind of what makes this interesting.
Yeah. By the way, would you guys be able to send out the spreadsheet at some point soon?
Yeah, make sure you're all in here, right?
I think Vivian's not in here yet, and who else?
Isn't that it?
Tom.
Oh no, we're missing
Maybe
one.
an
It should be anyone with a
And
link.
Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom's not in here yet.
SMH Tom.
Where'd it go? Why?
It's okay, they got 5 minutes to show up before we free drop them from the event.
I mean, Vivian said they weren't going to be free until 7. She said she wasn't going to be free until 7:30 anyway. So
Yeah, so
All right. So here's the link to the draft doc. It should be anyone with the link has access. If you can't get in, let me know.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
Currently on view only access. I assume that will change when we're about to start.
No, let me fix that right now. Be right back.
You got me now.
This was the plan all along.
So are you Sam, Kyle, and Connor? Are you guys in the same room or?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like Sam is like the tech guy or something. Like he's slightly set apart, but I'm not sure.
He's the one producing all of this.
This is
Okay,
his
that's what I
like,
figured.
yeah. He set up so much stuff for us this weekend. Shout out to Sam for real. Okay, it says anyone with a link should be able to access it. So if you can't get in there,
Probably a skill issue.
It's still view only.
Yeah, it might say everyone with a link can access, but you have to change. You might have to change the access on it.
yeah.
Eli just needs to reload the page. Oh no.
I've been
Okay, so
reloading the page.
I think usually you need a different link if you want to give edit access. In my
No,
experience.
it said anyone with a link is a viewer. That's my bad. Okay, now anyone with a link is an editor.
No, I can edit yet.
Hello.
I do that like
Hello.
real, like in my job. I should. Like, you would think I would know how that works.
You're off the clock.
Never.
Oh, Eli coming in strong with the Black Lotus.
Shit. Banned. It's not your turn.
Yeah, you know what? Eli came prepared. No one else knows. We're actually drafting the holiday version. Yeah.
Surprise.
That would be a surprise. I think I would
That'd
lose.
be
very
hilarious.
quickly.
So, in case you guys don't know this, or don't know this, it will highlight your card as red if it's already been picked. But if you go down to the bottom of the cube, it'll check off the cards as they've been picked in case you need help just double checking that kind of information.
Oh wait, this is a Rotisserie Draft of the whole, or Rotisserie Draft of the whole cube.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was a normal draft.
No.
A draft strategy makes no sense then.
That'd be right.
I actually think your draft
Awesome.
strategy still makes sense from what you told me.
Yeah, you honestly.
You have me that. Yeah, just do it. What you said, do it.
Well, yeah. It's also just like the strategy for the Chicago Cube period. If you just like take fixing, you'll win.
I assumed, Andrew, even in this draft, you were going to be first picking fetches and Nev disc. So
Yeah.
just as you normally
Hey,
do.
hey, I think there are very few cards that I think are justifiable to pick over a fetch land.
You know,
Interesting.
it's normally bad to talk about what you're going to do before the draft starts. Just like that's my word of advice to you.
Especially in the draft, people
I'll take-
are going
I'll
to
take
actively
disinformation
responding
all
to what you're
day.
doing.
Look, he's warning us now that if we get in his way, he's gonna roof them.
Instead of you telling us
He's
what
telling you
you're
his
planning
way.
on doing in this draft, Kyle, what would you
If one
do?
lands, I'll just go
in this draft?
monocolor.
If we bully him out of all 10 fetches,
Yeah, I mean, I can answer this in a pretty generic way. I think, especially maybe just because I'm like one of the designers, I'm interested in just every time someone picks a card, I'm going to take cards that beat those cards. I don't think I have a specific deck in mind. I think I have a list of very good responsive cards, and I think they do make a deck if you combine them. Figure out how to actually win the game at some other point. I don't know. We'll get there with that one.
Oh, okay. I died.
Is everyone here?
I think everyone's here.
Yeah, I think no one had a witty response to that in the moment. I think, or half the people.
Good
just
answer.
Oh,
wrote
yeah,
out.
no, it looks like everyone is here. Do you want to?
So, real quick. So, okay, yeah. So you're going to be running a timer.
I would say you guys step out, and I'll talk to them about what we're gonna
Do
do.
that.
Okay, and then cut the sound out. Also,
All right. Okay, guys. So here's how it's gonna go. They're gonna drop out of the stream or the Discord call. Can't hear myself do it. They're gonna drop out of the Discord call, and they're gonna be commentating the whole time. I will still be in the call. I'm going to basically moderate the.
With my
I'm gonna basically moderate the timing. You guys are gonna have 45 seconds per pick.
a chat or something.
Anyone who goes over the thing is going to end up losing the pick. The next person will be able to skip, so just don't. Besides that, draft quickly. Everyone's going to be talking about what you're doing, and we're going to hopefully talk to you guys after the draft, and we can see pick your brains about it. But if you have any questions, I will be in the call on my personal device, not the stream. And good luck. Have fun.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Is there an easy way to see which cards have not yet been picked? Because I think especially getting near the end, it's going to be hard to keep cross-referencing what everyone else.
So
has
if you
picked.
go to the cube tab on the like if you can see the stream, you can go to the cube
Yes,
tab.
okay.
Everything is going to have
Who's
pick by,
responsible for updating
and
that?
then I believe there's also a more
I think it literally highlights.
yeah, there's a more visual effect to let you know as well. So it should be relatively straightforward. I would recommend like kind of highlighting your picks using the cube cover like a second tab, but
Yeah, I have two cover in another tab. I'm just wondering if there's like anything that I need to do to update different sheets after I pick a card.
yeah, exactly. Makes total sense. If you guys want to keep the stream on, you totally can. They're not going to be talking about picks ahead of time. That's totally fine. But they're just not going to be interacting with you specifically in the.
They should be the stream.
Yeah.
they should be at the stream.
Yeah, you should mute, but like you can keep it on. It's fine. All right, I'm out here.
Can you guys hear me?
What?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Sorry.
perfect. I just got all my shit working.
And yeah, Vivian.
All right,
I
everyone, good luck.
Cool. Awesome.
I think everyone's exit. But we'll be a little lenient with the timer, for sure, at least first, especially because some people it's their first time drafting.
Yeah, we'll wait till we get 8 boxes in there.
All right. You want to introduce what we're doing here?
Yeah. Okay, so for anyone who's watching and isn't a part of the draft that we're about to have, we are currently rotisserie drafting the full Chicago Cube. We've been doing a Cube League for the last 2 months, and our top 8 players from said Cube League have the distinct pleasure in being the first people to do a rotisserie draft of the Chicago Cube, and we're very excited. Rest in peace, Jan Sanson. You were with us from the start, but you're just not good enough anymore. And my name is Connor. With me is Kyle, and we are going to be commentating this draft throughout the process, and we're very excited.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a while. Honestly, maybe more than the Cube League itself.
We have a lot of interesting strategies going on here. Not to, again, if you're in the draft, I would recommend muting the stream, but
we can't stop you from listening. But yeah, we're going to talk about some. Everyone did provide a little bit of answers to their strategies, so we're going to talk about that during the draft.
Yes.
You might get an edge, but I don't know if any of you are playing that way anyway.
We have a lot of players specifically targeting artifacts.
Well, it's an artifact cube.
Yes.
But, you know, like you said, like there's a couple players here targeting a very specific band of artifacts.
Yes.
And I think this can be a lot of fun. Some of them are out there they fight each other. Maybe there's enough cards, but I think they might. I don't know. One of them's got to move out of the way eventually.
I definitely expect one or two players to pivot from what they told us that they were planning on doing, and we'll talk more about this as,
of course,
the draft develops. And our picks are coming in. Pack one, pick one. Ellie takes Uro, Titans of Nature's Wrath. Will quickly follows it up with Leisure Shooter. As of right now, from what we know, what we've been told, things are staying as what we expected.
Right. I think the Uro is a brand new addition. We've cut it in the past for being, honestly, a little bit too good in this format, but sometimes some power outliers are a little bit fun, and Uro does line up with a lot of what we got going on in this cube.
Anthony follows up with Urza, Lord High Artificer. Now Eli is in the interesting position.
Right, this is that narrow man maybe that you were talking about.
So Eli
anyway.
Okay, so Eli goes Karin Sign of Urza, the first wild card, I would say, of the draft. Vivian goes Staff of the Storyteller.
I told you that was one of my favorites. That was one I was considering a lot. I think it's just a fantastic engine in this one.
Tom goes Pat the Exile. Andrew goes Yawgmoth. Okay. Slightly off the board for Andrew, but I like where his head's at. Picks are just coming in. Now, Miles on the wheel is very interesting. Miles is in the distinct position of being able to stake a claim, knowing now what everyone else is feeling.
We also know that Miles put in a lot of homework coming up into this.
Yes.
He's got a whole collection of options based on what happened here.
Miles' tier list was the most extensive of what we received.
And they get 2 picks. For those that don't know, Miles is gonna get a second pick. Then it's gonna go back to Andrew and back to Tom. We're gonna follow up with the
Miles goes Anime Dead in 6. Now this was one of the plans that he was talking about doing. And Andrew takes Reanimate. Somehow Reanimate made round 2.
Well, yeah, Miles did take Anime Dead over it, which I think maybe indicates less desire to cheat something into play and more of just a graveyard value engine.
Tom goes Flage. I love where Tom's headed.
Again, brand new addition to the cube.
Pat the Exile Flage. What are you going to do about it?
Play it out.
Oh. We are getting aggressive here, folks. Eli takes Emery after the Karn pick.
What just happened?
I don't know.
They did.
Someone did that?
Someone did.
Can everyone hit Control Z?
Hey, can everyone hit Control Z until it comes back?
Nope.
We have technical difficulties here.
Hope this didn't break because I added these rows.
Hey. Oh, okay, we figured it out.
Okay.
We're back.
Cool.
Hopefully they didn't mess up the timer stuff too much.
Right now the timer's, there's no real timer going on, so that's all right.
Okay. Okay, so one of the things we knew going into this draft was that there was a potential for Anthony and Eli to play.
Right, and I'm sure Anthony maybe wanted more than anything for that Emery to come back. Though, was it anything they're talking about a blue-white tokens deck?
Anthony was talking about potentially going bad, trying to make some statement picks. So I think we're going to see Anthony here really stake a claim into the path that he's trying to go.
There it is.
Triplicate Titan is off the board.
I honestly think that was a totally reasonable first pick for any player.
Agreed, and I think that Miles and Andrew might feel some of the sting of that retroactively if they're not able to get any good reanimate and animate their targets.
So, like I was saying, I think Miles is less interested in cheats like that into play.
Yes.
And more of just playing animate dead 3 times with 6. Yeah.
We need to control Z again.
Yeah, I don't know who. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Stride, hanger on top.
Will go Stride Hanger Automaton. A card that was going to be fought over. And Will gets in right before, I think round 3 was where we're really going to start to see it. And Ellie starts the potential cycle going Misty Vernon. Okay, we're going to start seeing lands come off the board, folks, pretty quickly. Ellie went Uro, then they went 2 fetches. They are making it very clear what they want to be doing. To ready this early? To ready before Welder.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Probably assuming they won't get it back because of Anthony. Maybe they also just like it as a value engine.
Sure. It stays on the board potentially a little easier than Welder. Anthony go a man after my own heart. Go Triplicate Titan Goblin Welder.
Oh, that's also the black-red already, just to be clear. Not the red.
That is
Welder red.
that
Yeah,
is the
we
black.
both made that
Yep.
same mistake there. In which case, with the Legion Extruder, makes perfect sense. This is more of the stacks kind of deck.
Eli
Not
goes
stacks,
Flooded Strand. Interesting. I'm a little worried. Eli's going to be fighting with Anthony and Will clearly for cards. Potentially even Vivian, like with the token stuff. I don't know if you could use the pick that early on the Flooded Strand.
Maybe Eli's typically concerned that if they don't take one now, they won't get one.
Sure. I mean, Eli might be in a position to pivot too, maybe to more of a control deck.
We'll see. So it seems to me that Vivian and Tom are going to be fighting directly. We'll
Yes.
see who blinks. So one could go red-white. Vivian can maybe rate
10 seconds.
white-black.
It's tough because Vivian's in a tough spot because if you go white black, you don't get Yawgmoth.
Right. But Yawgmoth is gone. Though you can still get all of the Blood Artist effects.
That's true. And we're starting to see fetches just go off the board. That's 5 fetches. We knew fetches were going to be a hot topic coming into this. Everyone wasn't really sure how to evaluate them. We were potentially going to see a fetch go as early as round 1.
You have 25 seconds.
I think people are going pretty quick. We can be okay with the clock just for like at least if it for a minute.
Andrew, Hogak. This is we figured based on what Andrew told us that Hogak was going to be the possibility there.
I think there was probably something Miles. Well, so
Yes. I think this puts Miles in a position to go Junt. And I think the Wooded Foothills is a great pick. Can't convert it, unfortunately, but
I think a lot of these players have seen the fetch starting to go and realize they want at least one for their deck,
Yeah.
and they don't want to blink. They take it.
I mean, Miles could go Wooded Foothills Bloodstained Mire. I think that's really shock.
Not the green black.
Well, Vernon, Ellie took Vernon earlier.
Oh, I see. Sorry, Blessing Mire the fetch. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damnation. Okay. A board. Would you take Damnation over Toxic Deluge?
I don't think I would, but I don't know. I think I do like Toxic Deluge more, but I don't. The edge cases exist, and I don't feel strongly either way.
Oh, Theomancer.
It is one of the best consistent sack outlets, or things to sack every turn.
I think Andrew is starting to see kind of like everyone's really trying to play aggressive on the board. And if you play a turn 3 of Theomancer against the white aggro deck, you're really just like sitting pretty.
It feels good.
Yeah, you buy some time. Vivian, girl after my own heart. Celadar Retreat, thank you. Ooh, Eli. So Eli did say he wanted to go ban.
Right. Okay. So we'll maybe see a Brenner later on.
Yep.
There's Welder in the scrap spot. Do you think he'll take the Engineer on the way back?
I think Anthony's gonna start finding good artifacts to sack. I think we can see Anthony here on the next pick.
Like a
take-
bauble?
like a chainsaw.
Okay, okay.
Will takes a Bloodstained Mind. Do we have any fetches left?
2 left.
We got 2 fetches left. Polluted Delta is actually one of the fetches still available, which is kind of funny.
Wow.
Scalding Tarn and Polluted Delta, arguably the best two. But maybe not this cube, but like in a vacuum.
It's also there you go, Polluted Delta. Maybe we'll see. It's I forget the name of our new Sultai Lighthouse, but cards that care about
Tabal.
creatures cards leaving the graveyard. Not that it needed to be better, but that's nice with Uro.
I mean, if Ellie just like takes the Scalding Tarn here,
Yeah,
Exploration.
I do believe Exploration is one of the better green cards in the whole cube, if not maybe just the best green card, especially if we care about lands. Playing those fetches from the graveyard can be really overwhelming to your opponent.
Will take Scalding Tarn. I like that. All the fetches are now off the board.
So do you think we'll see the duels going now, or do you think they'll hold up on those and grab them later?
I think we'll start seeing duels in round 10.
Okay.
I think that's when we're gonna, because I think people are gonna want to like get their big pieces. Like I think Ellie is gonna want a Titania on the next rotation before they start thinking about like more lands.
Sure. So I do think we may see the same thing where if someone starts taking them, everyone's going to feel obligated to. And there's the Brennard.
Yep, there's
Love
the
it.
first Lighthouse off the
Love it.
board. Brennard, Sam, big proponent of that card.
It's been way better than we expected it to be.
Vivian going Thoughtseize. I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. Sometimes you just need to take the best card they have.
Right. This also does, not that the Marsh Plots didn't indicate that, but this is the white-black deck that we were talking about now, as opposed to Tom's white-red deck. Tom famously loves Servo.
Love Servo Expedition.
Talked about first picking it.
If I was Tom, I would think about maybe going into Naya. Maybe taking a Scavenging Ooze.
Like I said at the beginning, I don't actually hate Lion Sash as a first pick.
Absolutely,
The amount
yeah.
of graveyard synergies. Almost every deck you see on the table is playing synergies or playing graveyards. And the Lion Sash and the Scavenging Ooze are easily the best answers to those. So already a Bayou. So we'll see if people blink. We'll see what happens.
Andrew notably didn't get a fetch. So it's maybe overcompensating a little bit on that to take Bayou this early. I think that makes perfect sense. You know, if you're not going to take a fetch, make sure you get the best
it
one.
doesn't matter which one you take, because you just get the other one on the
Yeah.
list. Oh.
Miles is bringing their shit back.
So Andrew and Miles are in each other's way.
Yeah, they are fighting hard.
And I think that for both of them, the names that I'm bad with at this point, but the creature with ward pay life equal to its power.
Phyrexian Flash Court.
Yes, I think that's one of the best reanimate targets for both of these players.
I think Anthony, if he, you know, it might be a savvy pick to take the Flesh Torture.
See, I like it. I actually maybe like it more than Battlesphere. Even if I'm not in black, I think it's just it can be very frustrating to answer. Maybe one of the hardest creatures to answer at the end of the game.
Vivian taking Glimmerlens. I respect that pick.
Between the Staff of the Storyteller and Glimmerlens, Vivian's not going to be running out of cards.
Yeah.
I love it.
Vivian is punching you in the face with the Adeline and drawing a card just because. Eli's deck is the most interesting to me. Bristlebud Farmer. There's a lot of ways Eli could go. That Emery, though, it's looking worse as time goes on.
Maybe, or maybe, like surprisingly, actually, the both baubles are still on the table, and I think with Emery and Bauble, just at the very least, drawing a card each turn is fantastic. You can also, you can animate them with the Renner, right? Oh,
Anthony taking Nexus of Becoming. I see, that's a card that I feel like Eli would have wanted.
I haven't had a chance to play with that one yet. It also makes golems, so Eli might have wanted. Oh, you said Eli. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was thinking Miles.
No, yeah. I think that's a card that Eli would have absolutely wanted. Will taking Chainsaw, I like it. I think Chainsaw has really shown itself as probably one of, if not the best removal spell in our cube. Just because it can also kill you.
Right, and you can also, there are so many ways to put it back into play. You can't reanimate a lot of removal spells. This one can. Ooh, I'm thinking Life from Alone? Hey,
Nice.
exactly, yeah.
Is it Loam Titania? Just
I do think Titania is a fantastic.
I don't think anyone would really fight over Titania, but there's like a small chance that Miles gets it. And I don't know if that's a risk I would be willing to take if I was an LEC.
So you were talking about the toxic deluge damnation, and I'm remembering that we do have selfless spirit and a couple things like that. It really does make the toxic deluge, I think, the better option, but it didn't end up mattering here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Scavenging Ooze, okay. I think that's a solid pick.
Scavenging Ooze laughed at this, the Animate Dead, the Reanimate, the Emery, and the Welder. Just so good against all these cards.
I think if Scavenging Ooze is still on the board, Andrew probably picks it.
If not, maybe Miles does. I wonder if Miles is going to switch colors at some point in time. Maybe into red with, the Wooded Foothills.
If one thing that Miles said to us before this draft, when we talked to him, was he was worried that he was going to be forced to go into blue-black.
Okay.
And I think he's the guy. I think he's going to have to go into blue-black a little bit. He might be better off trying to get Sultai. He could be going for like a birthing pod play,
That's really fascinating.
which I think would be really interesting. Eli taking Noble Hierarch. Okay. Eli's first two picks. Maybe a stumble out of the gate, but I think he's really started to recover.
I like his deck maybe the most. Just not like on a power level, just on a personal this is fun. I want to play these cards.
If I had to say which deck is my favorite, it was probably Anthony's. I going into this, if I was in this, my first two picks would be Goblin Welder Triplicate Titan, and the fact that you can get that and also get Urza, it's really good.
Taiga.
Tom, Naya, think
That you said, yeah.
Andrew takes Grist. Strong pick. Very strong pick. Getting Grist before Miles has a chance.
I just want to add some commentary. They are looking at Miles's pick and they're going, "It's the Sam deck."
Oh, that does seem correct. Correct. It is missing a Dark Confidant, though.
Are you sure Andrew isn't the Sam deck? Because he just took back-to-back Grist.
That's modern Sam.
That's true.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not Sam when he played modern.
I'm okay with the Overgrown Tomb pick out of Miles because you're fighting over the Bayou. If I was Miles, I would think about taking Kiora.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah, because you have
or dump some cards.
You can get the Sultai, you can get the T-Ball, you can get Champion of Wits later in the draft. I think Miles has a really good potential later going to Sultai. Vivian taking Lauren pretty early. That's good. I think we'll see Forsake the Worldly come off the board pretty soon.
Yes. I think maybe it's possible that a lot of these players do underestimate the power of that card and the exile text.
Agreed. And we've started to see the run on duels.
So with that Scrubland, there is a Random Apprentice. So Will is in Mardu with the new, what's the new legend that we added?
Zurgo. The new Zurgo. Oh, Ellie. Everyone's fighting over the green-black land. Those are going to be the first ones to go. I would not have guessed that.
I don't believe any of the Crucible effects have been taken. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like the first shock of the draft for me.
Really, didn't we talk about that? Like I said, a lot of this text works really well with. So again, if we can find if Ellie can find a Crucible effect every time they play those lands, and we trigger and making zombies.
I think it's a good pick. What do Andrew like? Now the person I'm the most worried for is Miles.
I've actually been worried for Miles for a while. Also, I think that Tom maybe should have taken that in Impa Call earlier. I think that was
agreed.
Probably instead of the exhibition, but
Yeah,
Tom always keeping us on our toes.
yes, I like Tom. I would have taken Meeple Collins at Observer Expedition every time. Overwhelming Surge. I like that pick.
That's also a new one.
That's a new one. Deal 3 damage and or destroy an artifact for 3 mana. I like that pick a lot. And it's good. It's gonna keep them open. As for Miles, I think Miles has to be the blue-black control pick. I think Miles needs to start taking counter spells.
I like this. Yeah, counter spells, good removal spells. I am blanking all my card names today, but what is the evoke removal spell that we all love so much? That's not online. They can't take that.
Oh, the
It is online.
it is online.
That's right. That's correct.
Lethal Scheme.
Lethal Scheme.
Yes.
If you have never played with Lethal Scheme, play with it.
Yeah,
and
change
win
that.
every game you play with it. It is incredible. I do think we could see a tough cookie. Oh, Stout Cook Scalper
Yeah.
was that card is.
I like that
very
pick.
good.
I think that's very much the direction. Vivian going Lingering Souls. Who doesn't love a good Lingering Souls? Card's been out for 20 years. It's still amazing.
It's still good. It's still good. Also, I like Vivian playing Staff of the Storyteller Commander.
Yes.
Basically, every card taken with them just so good with Staff.
Tom going Galvanic Blast. Over on Holy Heat, question mark.
Does hit face.
It does hit face.
So, now, there's a couple artifacts. I think they will be able to turn that into 4 damage to the face if they want.
I mean, and there's a good chance based on where Energy and Miles is that if he wanted Unholy Heat, he could get it on the weird.
That's true. That's a good point. And with the Flame Slash and the Overwhelming Surge disappearing, I probably felt needed to start taking some of those cards.
I really like Anthony's removal suite. Flame Slash and Overwhelming Surge, I just think are two of the cleaner cards.
Flame Slash is just that's so good.
4 damage is a lot. I don't know if people know that.
Dumb little creatures have 4 toughness these days.
Miles goes Bone Shards and Bitter Triumph. Okay, so getting the black removal while they can.
Notably, blue is completely open. No one is taking those cards, and Miles might think that he can get some kind of blue control cards later in the draft.
Maybe. If I had Damnation and Toxic Deluge, I would not prioritize Bone Shards.
Sure, that makes sense. Uh-oh. Something happened there in the draft.
Okay, Miles is taking care of that. Okay, sweet. Andrew taking Ignoble Hierarch. Andrew just playing the rock. He is not moving.
Do you think we'll see a lighthouse from Andrew?
That's a good question.
What about a Gitrog monster?
I think we'll see Gitrog. I don't know if Andrew's gonna take a lighthouse. I think the Ignoble Hierarch though does keep him open to taking Coral.
Right.
I think if we do see one, it's gonna be Coral. The new card, Voice of Victory.
Tom told us he was taking it.
Tom was very excited. That was one of the things he thought that people would underestimate how powerful that card truly was. And I mean, I just came back from Denver. Voice of Victory and Quarry Steelcutter were the 2 most asked for cards from the
Yeah, we paid way too much to get that online.
It's a good thing you got Quarry Steelcutter before it went up, because it doubled in price over the weekend. My one question right now with Vivian's draft is, does she go into a third color?
Months ago, maybe around the last CubeCon, we had a lot of conversations about how a white-black tokens deck was maybe one of the most powerful things you could do. Without, just... Though, I don't know where the Blood Artists have been taken. The Marionette Apprentice was taken, but there's still a Blood Artist out there. And there's still, I guess other than that, it is just Durga. Maybe... Ooh, there it is.
You're the Rising Tide, yeah. And just
Great way to discard a Triplicate Titan, and then they have to answer it, and then you get to reanimate your Triplicate Titan without threat.
I just love Anthony's deck.
You were very clear that is what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Will take it Hangerback Walker. A card that a lot more than one person said to me is a card that they were looking at taking pretty highly.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know, but I've been like not taking that a lot these days, not playing it a lot. And I don't know if that's actually correct.
I think that I keep thinking it's gonna wheel and then it doesn't.
Okay.
Ellie taking Quack Feast, one of our newer removal spells.
Ooh, Underground Sea.
Oh wow, Underground Sea still on the board. We still have some duels available.
I want to say, as for context for drafting the cube more online recently, Handyback Walker is good. The new one that lets you draw cards, better.
Very good. Okay, yeah, I've actually not even seen that play yet. But
yeah, we still have some really powerful cards like the new Hangerback Walker. We still have the card that you just said, Blood Artist, still on the board.
Noticeably, no Crucible effects have been taken other than Life in the Loam, and I think, especially with the Exploration deck, those cards are very good.
Bobbles still on the board.
Just an update from the players. The run on removal spells from Miles is what's causing people to take removal spells a little bit earlier. So that Quack Feast pick is not what Ellie wanted to do, but Miles taking removal spells is causing them to do it.
That makes sense.
Okay, well, Miles is affecting the draft.
Right. And if that's how they're thinking about removal spells, that's certainly how they were thinking about those special ones earlier.
Anthony, though, disciplined, they just take defense. Can't go wrong with taking a land. Will taking Murderous Cut, though. So let's see. We have Sultai, Mardu, Izzet, Bant, Orzhov, Boros, with the potential for Naya, Golgari, and Mono Black.
Yeah.
Heritage Reclamation out of Eli. We draft our sideboard cards early here, folks. We do not mess around. Forsake the Worldly, though. Still on the board. I can see Tom taking that pretty soon. Firebolt, though. That's a good one. That's a good one still on the board from Tom. Still Unholy Heat's on the board, but that's okay. Andrew taking Lethal Scheme. The more picks that Andrew makes, the more I like his deck. Okay, Miles going back into green. Floral Evoker, the new one. A little tricky to pick a landfall card without a ton of fetches. I think we're going to start to see Miles take Crucibles on his next rotation. I think he has to.
Which to me also means that maybe Ellie feels comfortable with just the Life in the Loam. Actually, I just noticed that Golgari Grave Scroll is still out there, and I think that is extremely powerful, enables a lot of decks. Miles could even want one of those.
At some point, someone's going to have to start taking blue cards. There's a chance that maybe Vivian becomes Esper? Andrew taking Insidious Roots. Just cutting off Miles at every point.
Insidious Roots would have been good for Miles, Andrew, and Ellie.
Yes. Andrew did not realize that this was going to be a rotisserie draft right before this started. And I think that he has nailed his timing.
I do like, whether or not it's quote-unquote correct, I like that Miles said, no, this is what I'm doing, and you can't stop me.
Okay, Vivian going Godless Shrine. We still a decent amount of surveillance on the board. I'm not surprised that people are taking shocks over them, but I don't know if that's correct.
I actually don't think I would, but like that, it's such a heuristic, of course. The shocks are better than the Tony Land, but they have just been incredible in this cube. And just in general, they're also fun to play with.
Eli taking Springleaf Gem. Okay. Eli starting to bring the artifact package around.
Right.
P and K. So if there's one card that I would say over the last 3 months has really risen stock in the Chicago Cube, it is Pia and Karen Nalar.
Well, I stopped in Madison to do that one draft in Noah's basement, and they said, what is the card that you think is the worst that you keep losing to? And P and Karen Nalar, not close. I tried to get that cut out of the cube so many times, and I was definitely wrong.
It was always just good enough.
Yeah, but I lost a little. There it is. The Gitrog Monster.
The Gitrog Monster. There we go. I think Miles has to just acknowledge that the ship has sailed on what he's doing.
And so one other thing I remember talking about is one of the other decks I was really interested in was a blue-based aggro deck with there's just a lot of very aggressive blue creatures. Maybe not what you expect to see, but
Surge Engine still on the board.
The Vantress Gargoyle.
Yep. The 2/1 flyer that you can stack the counter against their sorcery.
I haven't done so much damage with that card.
Will takes Magda. I like that. Will's deck is just like, have you look up Mardu in a dictionary? You'll see Will's deck.
Oh, yeah. I'm scared of it.
Anthony might be counterspell guy too at some point. Let's not rule that out. Urza can like give you some more play.
Right, he can. He's got his, his big splashy cards everyone's going to fight over, and then he can later just take a bunch of control stuff, a couple bounce spells, and just be like, if you can't kill me the next couple turns, I'm going to keep putting giant threats into play, and you better have an answer for them.
So, Eli took Sir Ginger. Do you think that Sir Ginger is better than Archive?
That's funny. Sam's over here shaking his head. My instinct was yes. He says no. I think Archive Ravager is kind of in my like P and Kieran Alar camp where I'm like, I don't think it does what it's supposed to do, and then actually maybe it was Will. The first time I played Will, they I was like, yeah, this card's cool. They took it, and then it attacked for like 30. Vivian should be Esper. Yes, that's a good point. There's so many. Honestly, that seems like one of the great places the blue can go.
I mean, I think Vivian could definitely go that route. They're a little strapped.
The Wrath of God.
Wrath of God is still on the table.
And so is the one that just costs 2 mana if you have a bunch of creatures out.
Yes. Vanquish the Horde. The only thing she needs, though, is fixing if she's going to do that. Andrew takes Sinkhole Surveyor, another new card. Miles, Forger, Lumra. Good luck. If you can get the cards in the graveyard, then you can do it.
So I think Miles really, really wants Golgari Grave.
I think
that is maybe the number one card Miles wants.
I think Miles. I don't understand. I still don't understand the Flora of Ogre. I think that could have been Grave Troll very easily. I think Miles might have gotten flustered with Andrew going in the same direction that he was. I really like. We haven't talked a lot about Tom's draft so far. I think Corey Steelcutter 13th, I think, is really nice. I think Voice of Victory 10th is going to be really good. Solid removal. Some protection with Selfless Spirit.
Oops. Sorry, Vivian.
Sorry, Vivian.
I think that the Floral Evoker was Miles kind of conceding that he didn't have a survival, but wanted a way to discard cards. It was less about the landfall and more about this pseudo-survival effect.
What's up, Island Ponder? Thank you for joining. 14th pick, Carrot Cake, you think is early. Now, Carrot Cake is a pretty popular card within this group, admittedly. Yeah, also, that's a very Tom pick. I'm surprised it wasn't earlier. But how do you feel about Carrot Cake? Do you think that's too early right now?
If it's early, it's only a little early. I think that card has been great. Yeah, as good as people as it was in maybe was it its draft format when we were really blown away by it.
Yeah.
There's the bobble. Finally, that's too late for sure. I think those cards are just great. They could have gone anywhere. Maybe people don't like to give up a pick for such a kind of innocuous card, but they, especially with Emery, are just so much fun. So good.
Anthony going Solemn Simulacrum. I like Solemn Simulacrum. That's the first pick of Anthony that I'm a little. That's like a question mark.
Interesting. Anthony, notable vintage cube enjoyer.
Yep.
May just really like Solemn.
Pro Broadside Bombardier with Anthony.
Do you think that there's any chance that Anthony is interested in the new blue artifact birthing puppet? They don't currently have a chain, but he can maybe find one.
I think we can see that for sure. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see Eli potentially spec on that at some point. Maybe even if Will wasn't Mardu, I would have said Will.
Late engineer.
I mean, Goblin Engineer right now.
I feel like maybe Anthony forgot it existed. Just paying 2 mana to put your Titan into the graveyard is just so good.
Is that Goblin Engineer good in what Will is doing
though? Maybe they value Legion Extruder that much. It actually is a sacrifice out as well.
This is true.
You can sacrifice a Duretti token to do something with it. Maybe it's actually does it. It's like the most fair, but the most what that card is supposed to be doing.
Ellie officially 4 colors.
It was always a chance that was going to happen.
Ren and 6, love that pick. Love that pick.
I'm not sure that do they have red mana?
They do. They took a commercial district. Will taking Piggy Bank? Okay, Anthony would have really liked that card.
Looks good with the engineer.
It does look good with the engineer.
And the Magda, actually. Between the Magda and the Piggy Bank, there's a lot of just fast mana coming out.
Okay, Anthony takes the last Welder effect
That
in
is the
5
last
mana
one.
to ready. I think we'll start to see Anthony start prioritizing some lower card artifacts, like the other baubles, the egg synthesizer. I think we'll start seeing that come off the board pretty soon.
Where's the 3 mana red wrath? That's not been picked? I think Anthony could also be interested in that.
Sweltering Suns?
Sweltering Suns,
Absolutely.
right,
I think
yes.
Anthony could be in for that type of effect. Eli takes Whirler Rogue, instantly the best deck in the draft now. Oh, I did not see that Vivian took Hostage Investigator.
Hostile Investigator.
Hostile Investigator, thank you. A sleeper card. I think people are going to lose to that more than they would like. Miles is definitely, I would say, the least focused draft here, but they do have some powerful cards. They just need to build on that. And the thing that Kyle and I have been talking about throughout this draft is we're not really sure that Miles has been building on it correctly. And Will's overall card quality is insane. You know, Mardu is Mardu. It's going to do Mardu stuff. Tom takes Berseju as his first green card.
Wonder why, what the thought is there. Well, you did talk a lot about being a knight.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised. I mean, it's a land. Definitely a thing to fight over. Malevolent Rumble is a nuts card. This is true. One thing that is very interesting about this draft and how it's playing out. Ellie and Will have the least amount of experience in this queue.
Correct.
Ellie,
0 and 1 drafts, I believe,
yes.
between the two of them.
Ellie, notably, the first pick, 0 drafts.
Right.
How do you think they've done so far?
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, Ellie's deck looks fantastic to me, and Will is drafting what the pros drafted when they got their hands on it.
Yep.
So, you know.
No, you wouldn't be able to tell it's the first time. I agree with that 100%.
Though also, this was expected during the entire Cube League. They collectively dropped a tiny handful of games. Their record was phenomenal. We have been sort of making fun of Vivian for bringing these powerhouses to our league and making everyone just embarrassed about their magic abilities.
I agree with you, Island Pounder. I think that is a late run in 6. I think people sleep on that card all the time. That card's kind of like in a weird spot in the cube where I don't think people appreciate how good it is anymore. It hasn't done well recently, so it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. Still a duel on the board in Savannah. Tom makes sure he gets that.
A lot of the Naya deck, especially if you want to lean into that tokens theme that we're pushing, a lot of the best cards are in Vivian's deck.
Yes.
I wonder if that's going to be a problem for Tom.
I think Tom really wants Jetmir.
Yeah, that would have been it would have been much better in this list, absolutely.
And Jetmir's just not there anymore. That might be the pick of the draft.
That's nice. See, oh man, these decks are terrifying. They are just like so much crazier than the ones we draft when we play. That to be expected of the format, but dang, I want to play all these decks.
I'm now of the opinion that Vivian should not go into Esper with that Toby pick. I think Vivian should just stay in the course. I still think that Miles should consider just being the control guy.
Oh, there it is.
Nev's Disc, a late Nev's Disc for sure. A card that even I forgot.
I think a lot of people see that they're like this is an old removal spell. It's for old players or like commander players, but actually, it blows up everything in the game. And it has been one of those cards that we put in because it was thematic, and we're like, actually, it's just an incredible addition to the list.
Wizards has been making permanents really good, and Neverall this destroys permanents.
Shout out to Echelon 3000.
Yeah.
Very well designed cube.
Shout out to that guy. So Will is I made it very clear. I really liked Anthony's draft. I'm a little worried that he's letting all of these low cost artifacts go to Will. Like Anthony doesn't get experimental synthesizer anymore. He doesn't get piggy bank anymore. Goblin engineer is an easy way to get his stuff in the yard.
I shouldn't have made this so big. Can we? I can't hide it though. Unfortunately, delete it.
I mean, we could just scroll down, right?
Yeah, but there were people requesting to see the whole draft.
Okay.
Maybe go to 90. Yeah.
I still can't see the whole list. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I added all these columns here. I kind of wanted to just pop them off, but
Yeah, if you think you can do that without.
I mean, I can. Well, I don't want to do it while everyone's drafting. Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna do our best to get everything shown. This is the first time we've done this, and we're still working out some of the.
We will go back and recap definitely throughout. We'll definitely do a recap at the end as well. Anthony, I love that Shallock Isle. I think Shallock Isle, I think, is one of the best
I
cards.
forgot we added that, and
Yes.
it almost certainly should have gone earlier. It almost certainly doesn't even belong here, but it's gonna be fun, and I love it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to play with good cards. That's okay. That's not a flaw. That is a personality trait.
Especially when we cycle through cards as fast as we do, it becomes a problem. It's not a big deal.
Eli taking Blade Splicer, super disciplined pick. I like that a lot. I think Blade Splicer, you can kind of most compare to Ophiomancer. It just kind of locks the board. And Ophiomancer went 4th, and Blade Splicer went 17th, so I think that's good value.
It's also a golem.
It's also a golem,
That would be
too.
a golem.
Vivian continues to have one of the best decks, taking Thraben Inspector. Also a late Hero Blade Hold that we didn't talk about.
Are the Blood Artist? Is Blood Artist still not?
Blood Artist is still on the table.
That almost feels like just an oversight.
Yeah.
I think Victimize was still available. That was also an oversight. I think that card is. I think that card is one of my favorite reanimate spells in this list. I think Will, Miles, and Andrew would have all loved that card. Maybe even more than Necromancer, to be honest.
I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that at all. Tom taking Dragon's Rage Chandler. Okay, so Tom might actually be the one to go into. Oh no, he's going Naya. Tom can make an argument to go into Jeskai as well. Like this Narset with these, like the Dusk Rose Willow Queries, the Carrot Cakes. I think there's a chance that Tom plays 4-color.
See what you're saying.
I don't know if he's gonna have the mana to do that, but I think that there's like an argument there. Miles, there's that meme of the guy who's digging out the mine and he walks away right before he hits the diamond.
Right.
Miles is gonna get the
Refuses to be
diamond.
that guy. He
Yeah,
refuses to be
he
that guy.
refuses.
So we were talking how we thought Anthony and Eli were gonna do the same thing, but it turns out Andrew and Miles are just gonna.
Yes, Andrew and Miles are the two. Eli, I think, pivoted correctly once he saw the writing on the wall with Anthony.
Cling to Dust is a card that I also think is extremely powerful in this cube's context, and has been really, really, really impressive. I think any of the black players would have liked it earlier, though it's hard to take a quote-unquote sideboard card when there's still a shoulder guile on the field, for instance. I think Anthony's interested in Saheeli.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we can see a Saheeli off the board too soon. I think Anthony's also interested in the new siege that we added, the Frostcliff Siege,
Sure,
to give his creatures haste. I think that would be no, you're good. Really good alongside like his Nexus, his Triplicate Titan. Honestly, pretty much anything. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see him go Undercity Leveler here pretty soon, just to have a second target. Oh no, he's got Battle Ball. Never mind. Spyglass Siren. I like that.
Do you? I was trying to figure out what it is that we're just an early play, just trying to get on the board early.
Probably one of the better. It's the blue Thraben Inspector.
Right. So I guess that pumps the Karn token. Scrapper, so good.
Anthony. One card that I really think Anthony should get, and based on what I've seen, people sleep on this card. Gamble. I think Anthony really wants Gambit.
What's it called? Cross Cliff Siege?
Yeah. I have before you.
So if they're not listening to us, we are just kind of throwing up hints now. Reading pool still available.
Based on what they've done, I don't think they're listening to
Sure. Or they don't care.
it. Or they don't care. Miles is just going to send us a strongly worded letter, be like, no, I said I wasn't going blue-black.
He didn't say that. That was like the one thing that he's like, he said he had lots of options, but the one thing he didn't want to do was blue black.
Yeah, concern, scared of being forced in a blue-black X and other drafters prioritizing lands, which was a common thing between all the drafters, is who was going to take lands and when they were going to take them. Ellie taking Deepu Wayfinder, I love that pick. Also, they took Otawara. We have not talked about that.
I think that's just a great card. It's one of the few kind of clean answers to a Triplicate Titan.
Yeah, they're playing 4-color, not white. I mean,
People letting them take the lands.
people let them take the lands. That being said, Ellie has not taken
Crucible effects.
not Crucible effects.
Titania?
Titania yet. I don't know if you would risk that.
Didn't Ellie express interest in Titania?
They did not, but
Okay.
theoretically,
Maybe it was Eli at first.
yeah. I don't think. I mean, Ellie at this point can probably safely assume that they are going to get the Titania no matter what.
I could see Miles taking it.
I can see Miles just taking anything at this point.
Oh, Anthony. Nice.
Awesome. Thank you for following. Underworld Cookbook. Anthony is cooking, so I do like this pick here. Eli taking Condemn.
Again, an answer for Triplicate Titan.
An answer for triple. That's true. A lot of the. We still have like one Oblivion Ring effect. I think that's able to be drafted.
Well, there's definitely Oblivion Ring. There's the one with Convoke.
No, Eli actually took that.
That's right.
Really.
What about Casket's right there? What's the 1-mana one?
Dusk Rose. Tom has that.
Right, but didn't we add a? We used to have a different one. Did we cut that for Dusk Rose?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Vivian, I think Vivian might be interested in taking more black cards. I'm not exactly sure what like the next pick would be for her.
What about that new?
Blood Artist.
The new card that when it attacks, you can either put a counter. There it is.
There we go. Okay. 19th pick Blood Artist. Again, Vivian got 19th pick Blood Artist, 16th pick Toby. Just really leveraging her picks.
I almost like Tom. Just like I said, never know what's coming with Tom. I love it.
Andrew takes the Avenger of Zendikar. Oh man, Andrew's deck is so sweet.
Round. Oh, okay.
Okay, so Miles has said, "This is what I'm doing."
Notes from the drafters. There is a lot of dissent between Miles and Andrew. Andrew was about to take Corval. So he was going to go into red-green, adding red-green to it because he thought it was open, and Miles immediately just jumped ahead of the line.
And maybe Andrew should soul read more.
I mean, Miles has got to play cagey right now. You know? He's trapped in a paper bag, and he's just got to break his way out of it. That being said, I don't think Andrew should be that upset about missing out on Cold War. I think he's got enough going on here. You were destined to Vine Lasher. Ellie might be a little bit upset about that. Okay, so Tom's going Just Guy.
How do you like Vivian just taking Wrath of God to get it out of the draft?
I think that we're at the point where if you think a card's gonna hose you, take it. Yeah. I think we can definitely start seeing Wrath of God effects go.
So okay, wait. Interesting. So Tom has the option, if this is what's going on here, to play like a pretty cool Narset deck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually really neat. I kind of like that. Also, that's like probably my favorite Lighthouse. That's just a fun card.
The only thing I'm worried about with Tom's deck is his mana, because he doesn't have a fetch, so he's kind of at the whims of his jaws. But he does have Voldair and Epicor. He does have Ibora, so he has blood tokens.
Navinet negate.
Eli takes negate.
I do think, I don't know about where in the draft it goes, but I do think negate is notoriously underplayed. Every time I put in a deck, I am very happy. So everyone's playing blue now.
Everyone, I think Tom might have scared people to start taking the blue cards they were trying to wheel.
I don't put it past either Anthony or Eli to know that they were floating blue cards.
Will takes Ash Knight's
Yeah, there it is.
Sneaky good pick here. Ellie has a strategy. It is take lands. Let's see a Titania. Titania one time.
Oh! We're gonna just do the whole thing. Oh my goodness, this is fantastic.
I can't wait to see that deck. I cannot wait.
Where's who's our Nevermoon lover?
Lysa.
Lysa, yeah. Oh man, it's his kind of deck.
Torture Tower still on the board.
I think that is but one of those cards that suffers from having too much text. People don't realize it's an instant speed shock that exiles creatures.
Yes.
There's a bunch of extra text, but actually it's just really good on that. Spell snare also very good.
Okay, so Anthony's playing counters, and honestly, I like that. The Welder deck doesn't always need its mana, and so holding up counters when you're doing your shenanigans, I actually think is really good.
If you just look at the draft right now and see how many of these cards that spell snare counters. Oh, I put that card in every deck I have.
That being said, Anthony needs to avoid Vivian, because I don't know if Anthony's deck's gonna be quick enough than Vivian's.
They do. Anthony did take the
Storm Draft
pretty early, which was a good. I think it was really just a disciplined pick. I like that a lot. I do think Tom is trying to be Narset.
Yes. I'm curious to know if he's still going to try to do the Presagio stuff and just have it as like a colorless land, but Andrew retrofitted Transmogrant. I like that, especially sitting that Vivian took Scrappy's counter. I think if you want that type of effect, you just got to get it now.
We have a good update from the drafters. Anthony is about to make a pizza and is concerned about their pick. So how would you approach drafting Rotisserie Draft while trying to make a pizza?
Well, it depends. What kind of pizza are we talking?
We're talking a frozen pizza.
Talk it up.
I think you could get I think you could get a frozen pizza in the oven before it's your draft again.
But do you think you could, once it comes out, do you think you could like cut it, prepare it, get everything ready, get your sauces, your dipping sauces of choice?
Don't cut, just go for it.
You maybe have to do it 3-4 times, yeah. Also, maybe the strategy is just like wait 10 minutes.
Yeah. Take big bites. Miles.
Okay, finally, one of them is going. I've been saying they need to go for a long time. The crucible effects are good in so many decks here. Also, I believe Golgari Grave Troll is good.
Golgari Grave Troll is probably the best card remaining.
Especially with the Lumra is fun, and then also I forget what it's called, but the vehicle. There's a vehicle that says whenever you mill a land, put it into play instead.
Hedge Scavenger.
Hedge Shredder?
Hedge Shredder, thank you. Okay, Tom, Esper Sentinel, late Esper Sentinel for sure. Avenger of the Fallen, another new card taken by Andrew. Andrew really wants you to see the new black cards from Dragonstorm.
Now that Tom is maybe playing this kind of aggressive Narset deck, I actually really like that Galvanic Blast. You hit it for 4, attack hit it for 4, like they're dead. That's a real thing.
That Galvanic Blast really came around. I wonder if Tom was always preparing to go into Narset, or if he just saw that blue was open and
Tom would notice that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the Metamorph. Again, way too late. Yeah, true.
All the Gearhawks besides Noxious Gearhawk still on the table.
Right, the new ones. Some of them little bit better than others, but most of them very powerful. The Phyrexian Metamorph, I would argue, has gone way too late.
Hose me down. Let's see. Anthony, I think, is starting to slowly put himself in the position to maybe mess around with repurposing back. I don't know if he's going to need it, but maybe he takes it late and against games that go long.
Do you think Miles could play Pod? What about Andrew, maybe, actually?
I think Miles or Andrew are going to take Pod very soon. I think Miles should take Pod. I think it would really give Miles a direction. What's up, Dr. TNT? You really need to try a Chicago Cube? Hopefully, it's at the next CubeCon, and you can try it in the event itself. Submissions for CubeCon just went up yesterday.
Yeah, we gotta do that. I guess.
We have to do that.
Also, I don't know if you're in Chicago, but every Tuesday.
Ellie takes Titania off the board.
Sorry, Will.
Sorry, Will. So Ginger's gone. You'll just have to take Art Powder.
Hey, just like that. Nice thought. Is Tough Cookie still on the table?
Tough Cookie. I was about to say Tough Cookie.
Yeah,
Actually.
I think Eli is very interested in that.
I think Eli's going to take Tough Cookie pretty soon, if not next. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Haywire Might, I think
that card is.
that's also a very defensible pick. Forsake the Worldly, also still on the table.
Eli is very clearly setting himself up to look at Bright Glass Hero.
Yes.
Right? That's a Bright Glass Hero.
Sam makes a great point. Bright Glass Gearhulk. It's definitely looking like the slot perfectly into Eli's deck. Ooh, we're starting to get to the point where people are taking picks that have already been taken. That can really
not very clear that they're not. Maybe they're just taking it off the top of their head.
Yeah, people just maybe miss a pick.
These are the cards that maybe we just take a quick look at these.
Yeah.
Portable Hole is still in here, by the way.
Portable
That's what I was
Hole,
talking about.
Wrath of Gods, Ram's Expertise.
Oh, Ram's Expertise. Tom, actually, I don't know if both Vivian and Tom should be taking Ram's Expertise right now.
Could we let Vivian know that their pick is invalid?
Didn't I need you to take this?
Can you pull back up the list when you have a moment?
Yeah.
Vivian Audible's the Grim Bobble. I think that's a great. So let's see. Yeah, Sarah Paragon is still available. Oblivion Ring, Lead Shredder, Phantasmal Image, Snapcaster, a Call. I'm actually surprised it's still here. A few people mentioned that.
I think that maybe Anthony would be interested.
I think Anthony would. A lot of black cards gone, including Bantu. Sorry, Sam. Blood Fountain still available. Inti still
Soak the Flame
available.
could be something Tom might be interested in.
Strangle still on the board.
Too boring. People don't want to.
Birthing Pod, Isika's Chariot, another very strong card still on the board.
I know I'll fly through these real quick.
No.
Yeah. Go back to the draft, see what's going on. What did
Okay.
we miss? Oh, Orcish Lumberjack.
And
Collector's Ball.
Collector's
Ball
Ball.
was the card we talked about as a potentially even first pick if you just wanted to stay open. Powerful in so many things.
Miles did mention potentially trying to pick up a late Collector's Vault and going into more of a grindy deck. We might be seeing that right here. I love Collector's Vault. It's one of my favorite cards in this cube.
It's so good. I think there was another one where you sold me on it and then we put it in and then it's been a, I don't know, just like a key part of this cube ever since.
Andrew continues the trend of only playing black cards from Dragonstorm.
Well, there's a graveyard birthing pod. We have like 3 birthing pods in this cube now.
And I don't know if it's enough.
Maybe they should print some more, I guess.
We got to put Oswald Fiddle Bender in. That's what we really need.
Because I want to know what a white one would look like, what a red one would look like.
Tom takes Rabbit Battery.
You want to give Narset haste in the game on the spot?
I do think he needs to take the Narset soon.
It seems like at this point no one's interested in fighting. It almost seems like you could float for a while. That being said, it's so powerful. They just kind of want to snap it up.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. At some point, people are going to start hate drafting.
Sure. I think we are at 23 playables now, so we might, oh, no, well, there's some lands, though, so we still haven't, I don't think people are going to do that too much until they have a whole deck. Are we about to hit double drafts, double picks? So
Yeah.
we're going to do double picks at pick 25, which is interesting enough. When it wheels, means people take 4 cards. We'll see how that goes, and if it affects anything. And if we
Vivian,
even like that.
Vivian taking Sarah Paragon. Strong pick.
I don't think he was still in the draft.
All the 1-mana elves are still in the draft, besides the hierarchs.
But that's, I mean, we trimmed it down to pretty much those 3, right?
I think there's one more. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh no, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Patrick Bestie.
Oh, there was a Molt Tender taken, yeah.
There was a Molt Tender taken. Also,
Uh-oh.
Primeval Titan still on the board.
Yeah, I think that would be good for quite a few players.
Anthony taking Kadotha Forge Master. I get it. I like it. You need some cheaper artifacts, Anthony. Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Will is saying no.
I don't care about your
Yeah.
I don't care about your rats.
Nice.
There's the Crucible world. That's what I've been talking about. So I guess I didn't really consider this, but Red and 6 was another Crucible kind of effect for Ellie. This is sort of their third one.
Wouldn't surprise me if they go back-to-back Crucible effects. Meticulous Archive just gets more lands. So Ellie is why I'm a little worried about Tom not taking Narset.
Because they can just start playing anything.
Yeah. Like, Ellie, I think, is at some point just going to start taking the best cards available, and maybe that's Narset at some point.
I think what you're saying, though, I don't think Narset does much here.
Yeah.
But I understand exactly what you're saying. Nothing is safe when someone has that many colors in their deck. Yeah.
Exactly.
It should be said that Narset is a good way to remove cards from the graveyard, which triggers to ball.
That's really funny.
Narset triggers the ball.
That's Narset triggering Taval and what's the other one? What's the enchantment?
Insidious Roots.
Insidious Roots. Shout out to Sam Black's Sultai Grindfest Cube, where that got that whole thing going for us.
Yeah.
Put down Eli with that one. Insidious Roots and Cling to Dust makes a lot of creatures at instant speed.
Anthony needs Urza's Bobble, I think, right now more than anything else.
How many wits? I get it. So with Anthony, one of the things I like with these decks is the Kiora, where you can play a card and you have to answer it, you have to deal with it, but it also like advances that game plan.
Yes.
And if you don't have a lot of that, people will just kill you or when you don't get it. I do worry that Anthony's a little bit too all in on just trying to cheat a big thing into play.
Yes. And while I do like the Champion of Wits pick,
Hey, Eli, but I love it.
Eli picks Birthing Pod. I like that pick.
They actually have the best chain now that I think about it.
No, Eli has actually just been setting this up this whole time. And now I just think we're going to start seeing Eli take some big hitters like Primeval, the Gear Hawks for sure. My one concern with Anthony, to go back to the Champion of Wits pick, is Champion Wits better than like Upon or Preordain? Consider? I don't know.
Is Thought Scour still in the draft? I think so.
Yeah, Thought Scour is
pretty
still in the draft for sure. Tom really fixing his mana situation, which was my main concern with the direction he was going. I feel a lot better now.
I like how low to the ground this deck is.
Yes. I think we can actually see him take the Thought Scour pretty soon.
Blage is kind of anti-synergistic with the Narset, though.
That's true.
But it's also maybe just call it redundant. If you have one or the other, do you need both to win a game?
Miles
finding his way in Jund.
Yep, he's taking lands. He's not going to let Andrew take everything from him.
Miles in charge of taking, I believe, 4 cards right now. So, wait, 3 cards? Oh, I see 1 and then 2 when it comes back. So in the future, it'll be 4, though.
How do you feel about that double pick slate in the draft?
So I think a lot of things we did in this draft, and this is worth mentioning. Like we put the players in order of how they did in the league. So LA came in first, Will came in second, Anthony came in third. I think a lot of people would argue that is not the correct order in terms of like Miles came in eighth, but maybe is in the second best position. We kind of just made a lot of decisions to say we don't want to like calculate those edges right now, and we're just gonna kind of play the way it's presented. The nice folks over at Lucky Paper had the default at 2 picks at 25, so we just left it at that. I think that if we were doing asynchronous drafting, it would make a lot more sense if we had been waiting a week for these games to get going.
Yep.
And we're like, all right, let's get this over with. But here it's going so fast, I do think that maybe I'm not a big fan of it. It's just a lot at once, but we'll see in a minute. I think I'll have a better opinion.
This won't be the only time we do this, people. This is the first Cube League of many Cube Leagues that we plan on doing. And so...
Also, I want to do Rotisserie
Draft them. I'm picking Rams expertise. I think
There it is.
That's a great pick.
I think that the Forgotten Gods might have been something that Vivian could have been interested in at an earlier time.
Yeah, 100%. Vivian, though, when blocking's not going to happen here. Tapping is only happening here if it's 2 attack.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't need to sacrifice to show you're a blood artist if you're just attacking things.
Yeah.
Unctus.
There was this Eli sent over his top 12.
Oh.
Isika Sherry at this late is
Big plays.
Big boom.
There's a lot of power in Tuesday. A lot of ways to end the game. I really like that. Unctus, I think all three of us talked about a lot. How no one plays it in the list. No one does anything, and we're sure we're all wrong about it.
Yes.
So I'm really excited that Eli took it this high and is probably intending to play it.
Man, Anthony needs to get more artifacts. You're losing me, Anthony. You're losing me. Oh, some land's still on the board after this whole time.
I guess we can check how many lands are left. What?
He took Spellskite.
Oh, very good. Wait, so sorry. Will took Spellskite just as a Water Grave still out. So there's no white still.
Yeah, still no white.
Gifts ungiven in the Realms Uncharted. Oh, fantastic! What a beautiful list.
Yes.
We try so hard to prevent people from playing 4 colors, and I think we've done a good job in a typical 8-player like
Also,
15-card draft.
Ellie is white because they have Necrobloom.
That's right.
They can get Imbelliver rates too.
Yeah, I expected. Oh, they actually get more picks right.
Sylvan Library also still on the board.
That's a funny one.
Mirror Retriever out of Will. Another card that Anthony would have liked. Same with Brea's Apprentice.
I'm looking for the lands.
Market Back Walker still on the board. Other way. Oh.
They are. Why are they?
Go back up. Go back up. Oh, they're all like intermingled here.
Oh, okay.
Thundering Falls, though, still on the board. There's 1 land. Toxic Shores, Undercity Sewers. The blue-black stuff. Barrel Strix is still on the board as well.
Yeah, but Miles doesn't want to be blue-black.
I think we're going to start to see Anthony potentially go Grixis. Anthony could really use Baleful Strix.
I think Baleful Strix. Baleful Strix and Emery. Come on. What else are we trying to do here?
There's also still a Bobble on the board. I don't know why Anthony has not taken that. Okay, Thunder and Falls makes sense.
I'm sure Tom was hoping that would come to them.
I feel like this pick from Anthony is so important. Icar Wellspring. Okay. That's what we need.
Classic card.
Yes, that is exactly what Anthony needs. Eli trying to win me over with Elvish Archivist and Tough Cookie. Awesome. Eli's in the zone. Eli's figured it out.
Eli doesn't have too many cards. There's the Oblivion Ring, like we talked about.
A lot of people, when I talk to them about like fantasy sports or drafting like a snake draft in general, people really detest the middle picks.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Maybe it's just people like to take a bunch of cards in a row.
Yeah, I think what this draft is really showing though is their strength in the middle picks.
Such a surprise. What's going on with Tom? Maybe it was a misclick. I don't think that's how it works, obviously, but
I mean, Tom's going 4 color.
But Tom only has a Boseiju, right?
No, they have the Taiga and Savannah.
Okay.
And one Arid Mason.
We'll get Tom in here and talk about that.
The Arid Mason is going to be really important. Miles, Bud. Andrew takes Primeval Titan, though. Andrew really would have liked that Birthing Pot.
Notably, Will is very excited about their early pick of Lethal Demolition and thinks it's a really good pick to have taken early before people try to take it as a sideboard card.
I think Will was ahead of the curve on that for sure.
I've been main decking Gleeful Demolition a lot. I especially love it. I've definitely Gleeful Demolition my bauble, put it back into play with an Emery. It's so much fun.
Miles takes Green Sleeves, still on the board. Gogari Gravechill.
Yes, it is. You're right. Also, so is Bonnie Paul. I think a couple of these players might be interested in Bonnie Paul.
Bonnie Paul
it doesn't feel like as like maybe Eli, might be interested, but it doesn't feel like a golem, so they're not looking at it. But just a big old body. Blossoming Tortoise, nice. Though all of the green lands have been taken. There's the Gamble.
There's Gamble. A card that I think Anthony should have picked probably.
Yeah, vintage cube lover Anthony.
Doesn't even know how good Demonic Tutor is. Ellie, I think is going to be taking Bonnie Paul here pretty soon.
3 players in the draft exclaimed an upset sigh at the pick of Gamble.
They were offloading it.
Either not remembering it or thinking they could win.
Okay.
Miles, Unholy Heat's gone, bud. Strangle's not though.
You can't take the Strangle.
You can't take Strangle.
He doesn't need Strangle he doesn't need a whole suite of like premium black removal spells up here.
Yeah, if I was Miles, I would not focus on removal anymore, and I would just focus on mashed potatoes. Like, just make sure the deck works. Volrath Stronghold, a good example of just make sure the deck works. How do you feel about the description of opponent?
It's we all know, we all feel the same way. It fills the role. It's not exciting. We would love a better one.
Inti from Tom, okay. The Ceram's expertise, Teething Wormlet, consider Inti deck.
Oh man.
Take Narset, Tom. Let's just tie this with the bow.
What was Tom's quote about staying so low? You're gonna think it was a Flow Rider song.
Tom planned on taking land so low that Flow Rider wrote it.
That's right. Which they have stuck to, which is amazing because they're playing 4 colors.
Vivian is just in the seat. Zorline, you really like Zorline Cosmos Color. You're a big fan of that guy.
I think so. Yeah, I don't remember what that card does.
That's the bet.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like I said, I thought it was exciting because I didn't like the other black-white cards. Don't.
I mean, it's a good card. Like
I think I was playing it in Island Ponder's Cube.
That would make sense.
I think that's the last time I played it.
Eli, Vanquish the Horde, great pick. Wrath the God still available. Transit Mage setting up the Gear Hulk play.
Transit Mage would have been so good. This is why. What's it called? What's the 4-mana Solomon Simulacrum?
Yeah, no, Anthony has that. Anthony takes Frostcliff Siege, Cityscape Leveler. Baleful Strix is right there, Anthony. Just bite the bullet. Will take Shadowy Backstreet. Will might be the most disciplined drafter. They've gotten every edge piece. They've gotten permission. right at every point.
Late strangle.
Late
31st
strangle?
big strangle. Nice.
I also really like the Spell Sky pick more so. Like even if Will doesn't play it, it's not going to get played against him, and that's an
I was
open.
gonna say, I think it's the best. Again, I was trying to figure out why Will would want it. Maybe that's actually what it is. It's like they don't want to play against it ever.
Really good with Goblin Engineer.
It is really good with Goblin Engineer. There goes Wrath of God Sweltering Suns from Ellie. We're just taking
See that? I think those cards should have been picked a little bit earlier, but
So one card that has not been picked yet, that a lot of people said they were going to take very highly, probably the biggest follower of this draft, Surge Engine, still on the board.
I think Eli and Tom would love that card. And also, I just want to point out, I know Sam has been drafting the cube a lot online, and he said that he's been going down on the rats. This was how easy it is to rebuild, and they're really no different than like an arc trail, maybe something that destroys a couple creatures, not necessarily something that just completely starts it over.
Ellie takes the great
What a late
call.
pick. Both Andrew and Miles let this happen.
Yeah. Andrew and Miles both get a demerit. Whatever gold stars they have are gone. Will take Zergo. Love that. Just
We knew they
Will.
were in it, and I think that's going to be very good. I think it's actually just going to be impossible for some people to beat when it comes down.
Yes, Will has just made the good pick at a great time every time.
I like it. I'm actually just kind of terrified of that deck. Though I think Ellie, with that, I don't know if Ellie can cast Wrath of God and Sweltering Suns, but those kind of laugh at what Will's going on.
That's true.
Strangely, maybe Miles is best equipped to deal with Will's deck.
The deck that I think I've soured on the most as time has gone on is Anthony's.
What would you have maybe done differently? What would you have filled in more?
I mean, I still think he can do it. I think
More pressure.
I think he needs early artifacts. I think he needs Baleful Strix. Like, I really think that's the perfect card.
start.
Aether Spellbound is great. I think that's a great pick. Urza's Bobble also still on the board. I think that's like the direction you need to think about also. Like, I think Anthony's done a really good job of setting up his combo. He just needs to get there.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
There we go. Surge Engine's a great pick. Right, you see, right as I start to get off of Anthony, he gets me back in.
That's going back to what I was saying a couple times now. If you don't put any pressure on and you don't have your combo, every deck is going to beat you.
You're just that.
They're just not going to do it fast enough unless you draw the very specific set of cards. There's the Bright Glass.
And back-to-back Aerial Hulks from Eli. We were expecting that to happen after the Transit Mage.
Riptide and Bright Glass. Love to see it.
Let's see. The Vivian will take the best white card, and then I think she'll take the best black card available.
Wow.
Whatever those are.
I really appreciate that analysis.
Yeah. Portable Hull, best white card.
Oh, it occurs to me that there it is. There it is.
Original Bobble, not necessarily like a must-have for Vivian, but that must be really good just to get the
It's
first.
just good. It's just a good card. Put it in your deck. Make your deck a little bit smaller. Get a little bit of information.
And there, Vivian might only have to play 15 lands. So that Urza's Bobble is
think
just
about
like... I'm taking Third Path Iconoclast.
I like that.
I like that a lot. I also... One card...
Healy.
I was about to say...
There it is. There's the Narset.
There's the Narset.
I love to see it. Love to see it.
Andrew's locked in. Starlane, Stitcher's back-to-back. Andrew's ready. And Stitcher's require going late, I think, for sure.
Eli just made a comment that the green artifact matters cards, stuff like Tough Cookley, Elvish Archivist, Teething Wormlet, he claims that there's only one deck in any given draft that ever wants it. And ever wants like that suite of cards. What do you think about that?
I think that's probably true. Did he have any context for why that was brought up?
In regards to taking someone saying that Todd works so well with the Gear Hulks, and Eli said it works well with all those green artifact cards, and it works because he's the only deck that would want them. I think history would show that they actually play better in the Jund deck than they would a sort of Bant deck.
I was actually going to say that I think that that was a truer statement in the past. I think that especially with things like Brennard, and I just think that the fact that there are artifacts maybe is only relevant in one deck, but those cards are relevant across multiple decks. And maybe that's a consideration. Like, hey, this one artifact deck really needs them and they're getting taken. Maybe that's a consideration. But I don't, is that, does Miles know he's missing a card?
Can we let Miles know that one of his cell blocks is blank? To respond to that question, I also really like Elvish Archivist and like Teamer decks. And so I think that those like Tough Cookie Elvish Archivist cards, if you think that they're only in one deck, I think you're not. I think you're kind of sleeping on those cards.
Maybe one takeaway is that Teething Wormlet is too narrow. Specific card.
Sure.
It does kind of, maybe that's, and if that's, that is one that I've been looking at where it does look really good in a couple decks, but maybe not enough.
Do we think that Tom is going to actually play the Teething Wormlet?
Maybe. Tom notably has not taken. Oh no, did we cut Candlestick finally?
No, yeah, Candlestick did get cut.
We'll let Tom swap the Teething Wormlet for a Candlestick if he wants.
Now, we've been somewhat critical, at least I've been somewhat critical, of kind of where Miles was. I think he's done a good job of finding a space to go.
Yeah, I think since about 21, 22, I've been maybe even since he just said, you know what, before Andrew Cannon taking Summerground Corvold, everything he's followed up has been great. Like, this is really starting to become something really neat.
If there was one thing we heard from some of the drafters is that being proactive was really important rather than waiting to see how the draft felt.
Sure.
And I think Miles, at that moment, when he took Stomping Ground, stopped waiting and started being proactive.
So I got to do something.
Got to do something. Disruptive Fleet, also an interesting pick. Arguably the best of those types of effects now.
At least for like two with like the 1 mana piloting it or whatever, it doesn't matter as much.
Yes.
You don't know what your opponents are playing.
Andrew takes Sam's invitational card, God Eternal Bantu.
Well, what is the other Bantu called?
Scavenger's Talent?
The 3/1? No, the 3 mana.
One thing to note about Andrew's draft in particular, something that people don't know about Andrew, he's one of our more active 4 or 5 color players. And he said going into this draft that he was looking to draft the 4 color artifact synergy deck. And I'm surprised that he stuck with 2 colors, just given his track record.
I think it may have just been because he didn't feel like he had gotten to a place where he could branch out into 4 colors because of Miles, like because of like the conflict for Miles. Like even if you see, Ellie was doing everything.
Yes.
They didn't branch out into these other things until they had confidence that they were 2 or 3 colors solidly.
Tom's just starting to take some curve fillers at this point. Reckless Detective does get cards into the graveyard for Elspeth. For Narset.
The Convoke Burn spell I think is still available.
Stoke the Flames is still available.
Flames would be really good in Tom's deck.
I definitely think that's a card that Tom wants.
Yeah, I love Syncopate.
Syncopate, baby.
That's Exile on it.
Return to Ravnica All-Star.
Take the World League. It says Exile.
Forsake the World. We talked about that card potentially going a lot earlier. And so, Vivian and Ellie and Will have been very meticulous about their choices, and I think it's really paid off for them.
I think that Forsake the World League makes a lot of sense. I think if you haven't played this format a lot, it looks like a 3 mana disenchant from like some limited set, and you realize in this format how much an Exile Disenchant is worth. That cards. I think a lot of us would even like main deck that card if we played enough this cube. I think it's just that good, especially because it doesn't have much of a cost.
In a worst case scenario, you just draw.
Exactly.
Once again, in a similar vein as the pick earlier, the Lethal Demolition pick, as the Forsaken World was taken, both Will and Eli said I was trying to take that card like right now.
You should have taken it.
So a lot of great minds thinking alike of the draft.
Anthony taking forkball. I don't know. I think.
I think actually I really like forkball for Anthony, just as a way to like deal with some nonsense that Tom or Vivian or Will just kind of throw out at the beginning of the game.
He definitely needs to buy some time, and I think forkball does that very well.
And the Sweltering Suns, I think, is what they really wanted.
Yes.
He waited a little bit too long on that.
Okay, cool. Brutaclad. I think Anthony. Well,
Oh, Will taking the Unburial Rights before Ellie can snag it.
I definitely think Will might play that. I also think that's just a strategic hate draft.
Right, I think Will has a deck.
Oni called Anvil.
Was still available.
Yep.
Incredible. Is that like with the Oni called Anvil and the early the really early Duretti, Will can also just grind out a lot. This deck has a lot of play to it, and I really do think it's terrifying. Beans Reclamation.
Ellie doesn't give a shit.
We're playing all cards. Oh yeah, there goes. Yeah. What would they even reanimate?
Baleful Chicks.
Wow. It's all just. Yeah, why would you cast Unburial Rights when you can just go get Uro, right?
I mean, GP line Treasure Cruise? Treasure Cruise might be a pick that I'm not sure about. Maybe, it's pick 37.
Right.
There's only so many cards left. But Bonnie Paul's still on the board?
Bonnie Paul is still on the board. But that's double, right? That's like a...
Yeah, it is double, but if you're playing 4 colors, but you really... We were splitting hairs here?
Well, they just made me uninterested in trying to cast something like that in their 5 cards.
Will's got the Apprentice, and now he's got the Master.
Oh, Anthony just lost the draft to pick because... Oh, no, I see he was getting ahead of himself. Still here. I think Anthony would have also maybe been interested in that.
I think he should have taken Spellbomb over Fall.
Because Will has the Goblin Engineer, right?
Yes.
Oh, so good. Done that a couple times. I actually think Will may have really liked the Icor Wellspring, maybe out of the board for a grindy matchup, but I think that's exactly the kind of thing Will could have been just really interested in.
Especially with the Torch to Tower.
Yeah. It's just also like with the Engineer, it just kind of keeps you going. Phantasmal Image.
No.
When you need 2 Titans.
If I was Anthony, I would be taking the Market back. Still on the board.
Still on the board. Okay.
Banshee's Gargoyle, though, great pick.
Mills. This is what I'm talking about.
Artifacts.
It advances your game plan while also providing pressure. That is so important, I think.
Market back Walker going this late is very surprising.
Wonder if it's just like just a result of no one really having experience with it.
I would agree with that statement.
There were a couple cards that went late where it feels like a lack of familiarity with them in a limited environment seems to be playing as well. That's a big thing.
Getting that late, oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Malkador.
I think Tom actually should have taken that. If you've never cast Ceramics Expertise, putting Malkador in play and just triggering it twice, oh my goodness.
Oh, Vivian unearth and
there's a
smile
grind.
at
There's
that.
a grind. We did recently make some changes to kind of zoom in and enhance this this power to or less kind of theme.
If there was one thing about Vivian's deck that you can be concerned of is the late game. Like if you play Hero to Blade Hall and then it gets Toxic Deluge, now you have Smile.
Exactly.
And now she's right back in the game.
What is the evoke creature that does that? The old, cube.
Revelark.
Yeah, Revelark. I wonder if we should maybe take a look at that.
Oh, don't even on that. Tom taking some of those aggressive blue cards that you were talking about. Malevolent Harmon, I think Disruptor could be on the wheel for Tom. Also took Stoke the Flames, which we talked about too. Probably a little late. Andrew takes Market Backwalker.
There it is.
And Battle Rebirth. You really like Battle Rebirth.
I think it's fun. I don't know if it's like as good as it should be, but I basically think any cube where that's like the right power level and that's how we're animating cards, I love it. Like that's just it proved to be way easier to activate than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I just think it's interesting seeing it on board, playing around it. Both players have an interesting time. I think it's just a really fun Magic card.
Do we think that Miles is going to play that diamond roll?
That's right. Well, okay. Let's scroll back up. So there's no blue in here, right?
No.
I wonder what that was. Interesting. Maybe they. I don't know. I don't know what that pick was, if I'm being honest.
It feels like Miles with that last suite of 4 is just kind of taking cards.
Well,
Miles in the cube would agree with that.
Well, the Mob War Marshal and Weaponize the Monsters make perfect sense in a Corval deck. I mean,
Sure.
Weaponize the Monsters actually maybe had gone too late, if I'm being honest. It's very good. Will maybe could have taken a look at that one, but also maybe just doesn't need that kind of thing right now, or at any point.
Will notably has the tap a creature, produce a mana, as well as Magda and just incidental ways to make tokens, specifically treasure tokens. And with the Zergo and the weaponized monsters, you can really do some.
That's a good point.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay, random
side of combat.
Rare misstep from Will. Probably should have taken Weaponize the Monsters. Andrew, again, only taking Dragons cards with Dread Traveling Botanist. Just really like that set. Tom taking a card that Anthony should have taken a long time ago, Combat Courier.
It just gets you going. We can call it equivalent to a.
Combat Courier isn't going to win you the game, but it's going to get you to where you need to go. And
What makes the map token?
Spyglass Siren.
Spyglass Siren. That's right. That was taken by
Which
Eli.
Eli took.
Then I definitely like Anthony taking that. It's just a way to start going. There it is.
This feels like a hate draft from Tom.
Well, Tom still has all these green cards for some reason. I forgot I typed that one earlier.
No, it's fair. While Vivian makes her selections, let's do a quick overview of just some stuff that's left. Alibu, the Healy, all the Demir cards, Venerable Warsinger, some Boros stuff. I'm
I
surprised.
think that both of those Boros cards are.
Absolutely. Goose Mother still available. Slowgurk. I think Ellie will be taking Slowgurk pretty soon here. Some Lighthouses, Ashdon, Balin, and Gimbal.
Those probably have been priced. Those are understandable. The Baleful Tricks, I think.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Same with Tristani, honestly. I think Tristani's like arguably could have been in the top 10 picks. Tameshi, a card that a lot of people talked about, just didn't get taken. Let's see. Gadrick at Sushi, Siege Gang Commander.
Siege Gang Commander is maybe a little bit like the Kian Kieran was taken.
I think we'll see Vivian take this Armix pretty soon.
It's the last black card.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think it's really good with her Hostile Investigator.
Hostile Investigator when you discard it when you're
When anyone
Anyone
discards.
very cool. Very cool.
Thought Scour is still on the board as well as Occult
Chrome
Call.
Sea Shark is still on the board.
Yep. There's a lot of good blue cards left.
Why is Tom taking green cards?
Who knows?
Probably my favorite though. Like I love it. No, and I'm sure he's got an explanation and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, Vivian can. This Mikaeus Secure the Way still on the board as well. Vivian can just keep going. That's crazy. Steel Overseer and Luminous Brutebot though. I don't know if I love those picks compared to what I just talked about.
I actually really like the artifact focused Narset deck, and I think there's a lot of those. Like some of the best cards are still available. Is Steel Overseer still available?
Vivian just took that.
Okay, just yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I would have taken Secure the Waste and Mikaeus in her position over those two cards. Will takes the last black card in Ormix. I think that's a solid pick. And Ellie has decided to take Slowgurk.
I mean, it just makes sense here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was only a matter of time.
Tim, I think your take on these board wipes is going to be even more. We put these creature lands in to help the land decks, but they just ended up across the board, and these wraths are going to even look even worse now.
If there's one thing that's for Ellie in terms of their strategy with taking lands, being able to go Slowkirk, Snapcaster Mage, Felicia Archaeologist, Head Shredder is powerful.
That's crazy. Just the end here. First of all, what is it? Pelagi Archaeologist has been so much better than I think any of us expected it to be. Just talk about glue.
And also, Ledger Shredder is still on the board as well. Will takes Digside Engineer and Alibu. I don't think they main deck Alibu. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Digside Engineer, I think, is a crazy card. I think that card, we just added it back in. I think it was underplayed previously. Obviously, it went pretty late now.
I don't think we ever cut it out, right?
No, it was in the cube. We cut it.
Yeah, I think that card's incredible. It has so much text that's insane.
I think
we scryed 6.
I think we took it out for Ultec Mana Weaver. Anthony taking Saheeli. And Venerable Warsinger.
I've been loving Diversion Unit.
Yeah, that's a Diversion Unit going 40th is late. I think
it does 6 damage every time you play it.
I think too many people slept on blue in this draft. That's the one overarching thing I would say. I'm not surprised that happened, but I think people snoozed.
The drafters are possibly a little late, but are now in the constant conversation of what cards do I not want to play.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, at some point in time, you can only put so many. You're only going to play 23 at most cards, and we're way past that. These have solid decks. I'm sure that's all they're thinking about.
Eli takes a call per call.
I think the card's been underrated. I think the card is. It draws so many cards.
I was about to say. I think there's an argument for Eli to play both Diversion Unit and a call per call.
Ooh, sorry, Tom.
I mean, that's what Tom gets for drafting Bonnie Paul.
But so apparently that's what maybe the mindset. Yeah, sure. Want to play against Bonnie.
Baleful Strix, man. Feel bad for that card. It didn't deserve to get picked in the 40s. Take the Thought Scour. Good.
Yeah, that I would hope that's the main deck card. We used to play 2 of them. With
Mental Note.
Mental Note.
Hard Evidence also still on the board. Another card that I think Anthony should have taken. I think Hard Evidence
type is the
tapper, right?
Right. It's the Springleaf Drum.
Yeah. Both cards I think Anthony should have taken over the 2 cards that he took. Early plays, artifacts, accelerates the game plan.
I really like Moonsnare Prototype with Magda.
Yes.
And like you said, obviously Anthony didn't end up with Magda, but I think that would have also been a great card.
Absolutely. Yeah. Magda would have been perfect.
The Firewood Gear Hulk rocks.
Miles still picking up cards for his deck.
Hey, he was patient. I like it. I vote Miles for most improved.
Yes.
There's a lot of topic about the blue-black card specifically. Anthony going into Grixis, and Anthony said, I guess I could have gone into Grixis, but I didn't think the fixing was there, and Ellie made a really strong point saying, I hear you, but Darkslick Source just got picked, and not 3 picks ago I took Undercity Sewers, so...
Right. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier in the draft, is that he should have just gone Baleful Strix and he could have done it with 2.
I think whoever is willing to participate, particularly Tom, Anthony, Ellie, really everyone, but I think it would do is just do like a quick little.
I would love to talk
we'll do a post game.
Yeah, I think though, like regardless, maybe Anthony, like the fixing wasn't a good point, but there was a point in time where like 4 people were taking black removal spells. So I'm sure that could have scared anyone away from taking black cards. I get that.
Yeah, I think Anthony started off with really strong and then just kind of lost the meaning halfway through.
But hey, the first half will win so many games.
Absolutely.
Just we'll see how consistent it is. Oh, we're almost done here. This went really well. These were they went quick.
They did go quick.
Good for them. Really, really. Nice.
Andrew taking Secure the Waste away from Vivian. Not enough people respecting Sun type. That's okay. It's new in the cube.
I think the Sun Titan would have been like I like that like a for controlling list. I don't think there's any list here that really liked it, to be honest. I don't think that it's that. Oh my gosh, Angel Invention is a top tier card.
Yeah,
I forgot that was even in here.
Unbelievably,
holy cow, that card is insane.
That will be really good for Tom.
Audacious Reshapers is the silly.
Yeah, it's
the new. What do we place? What's his name? We placed that legend with him.
Felden,
right?
Eli Tomeshi, Goosemother, great cards in his deck. Just cleaning.
So wait, so Eli has Tomeshi and Emery.
Yes.
Tomeshi this late is insane.
And Dance of the Mance is also still on the board.
Eli could have easily had both baubles.
Oh,
yeah, so discarding. Yeah, this is great. I wonder if these again. I think a lot of this is simply explained by just unfamiliar with these cards.
Yeah,
see the name, not the art. You don't immediately recognize like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I think that makes perfect sense.
Red 2 Mystic went way too late. Red 2 Mystic's probably like a top 5, top 10 like round card for sure. And Anthony taking that card really just like I don't want to go as far to say that it saved his draft, but I think it really did a lot.
I think it's gonna be very helpful. Like that, you're talking about that early stuff there.
Yes, that's exactly the thing that he needs. Now, like not having like an artifact play doesn't necessarily hinder him so much.
There's the Babels.
There's the Barrel Constricts. And Ellie will make their last 2 picks right now, actually, right?
Yeah, we're just about done here. We'll review the whole list. We can go scroll back up for a minute.
Krishtani going 44. That's sacrilege.
When did that take your own stuff back become relevant recently? I think was it off of Reanimate?
Yeah, it's like the Reanimate nonsense.
That was funny because at one time we had a whole theme of steal your opponent's stuff, and then we got rid of it, and then I want to say it was even against me.
Might have been.
I don't know. I remember being present and it being really funny. Helping Hand, 45th.
Notable. Tom took
a second copy of Blood Artist.
Tom took a round 5 Servo Expedition, and Resolute Reinforcements went 44th.
Yeah. Also, I'm a big fan of the Servo Expedition and the Seal Overseer. I've won so many games with that, and I wish Tom had. I do think Tom was trying to go in a different direction, but maybe even him try to bend the rabbit at first. But
one thing as we close out the draft, in comparison to drafts you both have seen of the Chicago Cube, do you think that the decks were more focused, less focused, or around the same as what you would see out of a normal 8-man draft?
I do think they're way more focused.
I would
think
agree
that they've
with that.
run out way beforehand, and I like for instance, I think we have done a great job of making the 4 and 5 color decks like very difficult to draft to this point. But Ellie made it look like the cube is broken. We'll see how good the deck ends up being. But but yeah, no, I do think that some of these deck lists are. It doesn't say that some of these decks haven't been drafted, and there are some that are resemble it. But some of these look. I think when we see those final lists, it's going to be kind of crazy.
I do think this will be a pretty big learning experience for the 8 drafters too, because I do think there are some cards going into the 35 to 45 range that the next draft will go in the top 5 picks.
I agree. Balin.
Hardly know her. Let's see, how does Tom finish this draft? I think
I don't even know what's left, so it's so hard to say.
if anyone's going to figure out the funniest cards to take here. They do now play tonight, Vandalar. We'll be doing another draft next week. We'll have the games. We'll also be posting them on our YouTube as well. All of our links for these things are in our bio on the Twitch main channel.
We just need to be honest, we need some time to set up the ability to do that. We really rush this out, trying to get it out just for I don't know. This one everyone at a time. So this is why we're here today.
Everything you're seeing today was built from the ground up within the last 5 days, pretty much.
Obviously, minus this beautiful template.
Yes.
Shout out Lucky Paper once again.
Tom, asking an important question. Are there still any pets?
Tom does need to take a card. You did literally call that.
Yeah. Tom takes repurposing bay. No one tried to do it. People thought about it, but no one jumped into it.
If anything, Eli could have done it, but I don't think they needed to mess around with that.
Yeah.
He's got just something much more aggressive. Remember when we had Song in the deck in the cube?
I do.
I missed that one.
Everyone, once you both are ready is willing to discuss your deck, or a lot of people, Anthony will be the first person in the queue to talk.
Okay. Everyone can just join. We can all join and just everyone needs to just not talk. While
That's what they're doing. Everyone's gonna stay in the call. I'm gonna leave here. You'll join in, and then they'll mute.
Awesome.
Yeah, great. And then we'll just each ask them a few questions. And the last pick was
Miles picked a blue black card last. I think that's a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, Miles. I thought you didn't want to be blue black. Wow. It's crazy.
All right. So we're gonna join the Discord scene now, right? Any way I need to do that specifically?
Yeah. So we are going to have some post-draft interviews with some of I think all of our players, actually.
That's what it sounded like, yeah.
So before we get into that, what are you most curious about after this draft? Because my first question is going to be with Anthony and just not taking the early artifacts.
Sure. I almost want to talk to Andrew and Miles at the same time.
That's, yeah.
So
Okay.
how's the best way to do this? Just
we're gonna do this.
We did. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess you guys are all muted.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Connor,
Cool.
what's good?
Awesome. So,
Okay.
Anthony, you're going to be the first person we talk to. Right off the bat,
Love that.
I really liked what you
Wait, hold
did.
on. Oh, let Anthony go.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Tell us about your draft. What did you think?
What do you think about
What were
your
you
draft?
thinking coming into it? What did you think during the draft? Just give us a couple quick pointers.
Yeah, so I knew I wanted Urza to be my first pick because I think the card's absolutely crack busted, and I also think it goes into a lot of decks. Looking at the decks that I've played in the past, a lot of them have been these kind of blue ETB centric decks, and since I've been playing the cube more, I've kind of realized that the cube's very, very tempo focused. So when I was evaluating kind of all the cards in the cube, looking for a quote unquote first pick, I was just I want to pick something that's going to give me a lot of tempo. And I felt like Urza was that card just because it makes a big dumb artifact creature. It also gives you a 1/4. It gives you a way to make 1,000,000 mana. And then when you feel like you've had a good enough tempo advantage, then you could just convert all that into a card advantage. So I just felt like it was the best overall card. And I was really happy when it got to me. So yeah, and then from there I was like, listen, if nobody picks the Welder cards, the Welder deck will be open. If nobody picks the Stride Hanger Automaton, blue-white tokens deck, that will be open, and that deck can go really fast and get under a lot of the other bigger strategies. So that's kind of what I was looking for. Then all the white cards and Stride Hanger absolutely got annihilated. And then I saw everybody pick Reanimator cards. So I was like, I just want the best reanimation target in the draft, which I felt was Triplicate Titan. So I just snapped that up real quick, and I was like, hey, if I get the Welder, that'll be great. If not, then I'll figure something out. But then the Welder was open. So that was kind of generally the beginning of the draft, kind of where I was at. So
Yeah. Okay. I do have a question for you.
yeah.
So I was really on board with what you were doing for the first 15 picks or so. I think you had a really strong opening. I'm a little worried that you don't have enough small artifacts and like stuff like experimental synthesizer, and like I think you would have really liked something like hard evidence just to get like cheap artifacts that you can sacrifice on the board. What do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I think one of the biggest tragedies of all time in the history of the universe is Miles picking that collector's fault. Like, I was so counting on that card. So it was really unfortunate that that's not there. But I actually think I have a pretty solid density of small artifacts in Underworld Cookbook, in Scrapwork Mutt, right? Is the 2-mana artifact,
Yep.
ETB discard draw, and it has Unearth. So I feel like I have a decent amount. And for me, I was looking at it. I was looking at what everybody else was picking. And I was like, against all these green mid-range decks that people are playing, I feel really confident that I'm going to be bigger than them in the late game. And then against all these like small aggro decks like Tom and Vivian's deck, I was like, I just need to survive long enough. So I think not having the cheap artifacts is fine. And that's why I started picking up all those like cheap blue interactive spells. Maybe picks like 10 through 20, right? Is I was just like, if I have good removal and interaction in the early game that will let me live long enough to like go, Solemn Simulacrum into Nexus of Becoming into, put a 3/3 Triplicate Titan into play, that I'll be in the clear, and I won't need those small artifacts. So that was my thought.
Okay, actually,
Makes sense.
no, I actually think that makes a lot of sense. You kind of won me over there. Last thing I'll say about your deck, getting Red 2 Mystic 42nd pick, I think was a big boon for you.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and actually, I think a really big decision point. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna exercise some humbleness here, which is not something I remember to do very often. But I think it was a big mistake for me to have not picked that card much earlier, and I think I got bailed out by getting that card super, super late because when I was looking at all my picks and I saw kind of also like, oh man, like getting more artifacts would be great, and I picked up the vehicle that when you draw your second card, you make a Thopter.
Yep.
I was like, man, like, do I have enough ways to draw cards? And I actually looked at Retum Mystic as a way to like not only discard my big dumb artifacts, but also draw a second card each turn for the vehicle. I think that cemented the idea of like Retum being also very good beyond just being like kind of this reanimation outlet, or discard outlet, I should say. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think getting it 42nd pick was very lucky of me.
Well, yeah.
That's everything I think that's. I think I'm on the same page, and I know Connor. This was like his deck. This is the deck.
Yeah,
this is one he want to draft most.
100%.
It looks fun, and let's the joke I kind of made was, who cares whether or not you got an early interaction? Sometimes they're going to play a Triplicate Titan in the game. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah. Hey, I hope that's how it goes every time.
All right.
So,
well, thank you.
I don't
We're
know,
gonna
I
try
guess
to
we'll see.
keep going a little bit, but appreciate it. Miles is up next, right?
Yeah, well,
Andrew.
yeah. Let's talk to Andrew.
Okay, cool.
We'll talk to Andrew, then we'll probably talk to Miles, so we can hear both sides of it. Andrew, do you want to unmute?
I am. Hello.
Awesome. So you were pretty much just like the Rock the whole way through. I know you talked about doing 4-color. Talk to us about like kind of your strategy and why you decided to go the Rock.
All right. So one, I thought that I didn't know that it was a rotisserie draft going in. So, and I feel like you need more subtlety when going 4-color, and I feel like that was like not available at all. Also, Ellie made a really strong move taking Uro first pick, and I did not feel comfortable contesting the myriad of slow grindy decks that Uro can put out. Especially like as late in the draft as I am. What I did see though was that people were taking like, the Modern Horizons or like the really, really powerful like cards like Staff of the Storyteller, Urza, Uro or early. So I was like, all right, I'll cement myself in Yawgmoth. And that means that I can either go like Rock, or I can theoretically go red-black, which didn't seem likely with Will, or I can go like white-black, which didn't seem super likely with Vivian. But I was like, it felt like a pretty flexible deck to be in. I also just really like Yawgmoth. The card is really cool, and you can do a lot of like nasty stuff with it in the cube. So, that was the idea.
Sure, I think that's perfectly fair.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Yawgmoth for a year and a half as being like one of the quote unquote mythic rares of the cube. Kind of right up there with Urza, to be honest. So that makes a lot of sense. My one question for you is: was there any consideration for blue? I know you got that Hogak early, which makes you really want to stick where you're at. But I don't know if you had thought about moving into blue earlier at any point.
I think a lot like everyone else in the draft, I got scared of the Urza and the Emery. And I was like, oh, okay, they're like going hard into like blue red or blue white. And also Miles picked Anime Dead, and we were joking about drafting what we call the Sam deck, which is just like a blue white or blue black or an Esper control deck that plays reanimation as like its side game plan. So just like based off that alone, I just figured that blue wasn't going to be super open.
Okay.
And also, I don't think there are like a ton of cards in the cube that like are creatures and mill me, like, and also that work with Yawgmoth. Like, I just felt more comfortable in the lane that I was already in.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Sure. Last question I have. How like you and Miles were fighting, do you think that really affected your draft, or do you think that your deck would have looked pretty similar?
I think I probably would have been more controlling and less like I think I would have been less of a Yawgmoth deck, honestly, if he had not been in my colors. Like if I had been able to pick up a Toxic Deluge, then my deck would have a lot more flexibility. That would be a lot more mid-rangey than I am. But as it stands, like yeah, I think that's pretty much the only change is I would have taken fewer 1 and 2 drop creatures and maybe not been like as devoted to survival deck or, there's a couple things that would have changed, but no, I think I'm pretty happy where I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Andrew, so much.
Thank you.
Let's talk to Miles next.
Hello.
Miles, talk to us about your draft. How did you feel about it?
The beginning, like the first maybe 4 or 5 picks, maybe picks like 3 through 8, I was a little worried because I picked my 2 cards and then Andrew and Ellie started going to a similar deck to me. And I was worried that I was gonna like run out of lands, which actually was something that I talked about in my before I was going to this. Is I was worried that people are going to take lands too aggressively, and I wasn't gonna get to spec on stuff. But I think by like 15 or 16, I think all of us kind of found a different enough lane that I felt pretty good about what I was doing. And like definitely towards the later end, especially when I went into red, all of a sudden, like I feel like the floodgates blew open for me and all these green red cards, besides for red and 6, unfortunately, just like I feel like I got a lot more stuff.
Yeah, we were talking the same, like that stomping ground into the core bowl. Like from then on, like your deck just kept getting better and better in a way that like a lot of the other decks weren't actually. And I thought that was really kind of cool. It felt like you were fighting, and then found that we saw your own lane, and some of these red cards are pretty sweet. I really liked that choice.
A similar question that we gave to Andrew. We also considered you potentially going Sultai, maybe taking blue cards. Was that ever? I know you didn't want to do blue black X, but did you think about going blue black X at some point?
Nope.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
I did not.
Yeah.
I think that well, first of all, I think Ellie picked the Sultai tricolor card pretty early, and I think 6 plus Animate Dead and 6 plus Necromancy is a really difficult engine to undo. Because like you can Animate Dead the 6 and then you can 6 the Animate Dead, and they just kind of work so well together. So once I had 6 Animate Dead, I really wanted to stay green black and blue. I feel like a lot of the blue themes, they didn't work quite as well with what the engine I was trying to build as maybe the red deck or the white deck did. So basically never.
Okay, sure. Do you have any follow-ups for Miles?
No, I thought this was. I think especially Miles and Andrew were like some of the most interesting neighbors.
Yes,
Tom and Vivian obviously too, but but that all makes sense. That's really cool.
I would like to talk to Ellie.
I'd say.
Yeah,
I want to go. I think the order we just go now, draft order. Ellie, Will, Vivian, and then Tom last.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Don't forget Eli.
Oh yeah, Eli. yeah. Ellie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Awesome. So you were in the driver's seat from the start. and you made it clear to me before this draft that you definitely were going lands. Now, this is also your first draft experience with the Chicago Cube. All that being said, how do you think it went?
I think it went pretty all right. I think there were some things that I did not prioritize highly enough. I definitely did not prioritize the alpha jewels highly enough, and so I don't think I have enough of those to like support a 5-color mana base that doesn't hurt a lot. And also the fact that Miles took 6, pick 2 when it was like my second or third highest pick after Uro and exploration of what I wanted. Kind of also threw a wrench because I didn't really understand many of the combos that 6 had within this cube. I just knew it as a very good card when you have Life from the Low. But yeah, it could have definitely gone better, but I think from like a combo lands perspective, I got most of what I wanted.
I would agree with that. We were not because we thought it didn't make sense, but we were surprised when you took T-Ball at 9th. Was that always your plan, was to take T-Ball early, or did you just feel like that was the lane you got put into?
No, I had my plan was so you can see from my early fetches that blue was the third color I was most likely thinking I was going. Black was the third color I was most likely thinking about going into after blue and green. With the Uro and then the Verdant Catacombs and the Polluted Delta. And then what happened was that I saw that both Andrew and Miles were in black-green, and I was worried that one of them would want T-Ball. And I really wanted T-Ball in my deck, and so I picked it a lot earlier than I was expecting to. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I think we all like loved watching your draft.
100%
is awesome. It's just doing all the things we love. When you switched into red, added the red in 6. We were talking a lot about crucible effects, and like you had the Life in the Loam. Wondered if you were going to get some more for the exploration, but then the red in 6, and it was a lot of fun watching this draft. And I think you got a lot of fun plays, and I also think you have a lot ahead of you trying to figure out how to build this thing.
Yeah, I think your deck might be the hardest deck to build at this table. Would you agree with that?
I think, yeah, probably. Like, part of the thing is I don't have, it's like both really hard and really easy because like I think I only have to make something like 8 cuts because of how many lands I picked.
That's really interesting.
I think I have like 13 or 14 lands already. But there also is the fact that it's like I do not think my deck is placed super well against the more aggressive decks at all, and I need to figure out the way to deal with that. I think the thing that I really liked about this draft that I think only worked because I was in the position I was in was the, as you mentioned, the going into red and then going into white, is it's only something I was able to do because I could go land into payoff immediately, and no one could steal either one of those in between my picks.
Absolutely. You beat on the wheel really helped with that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, well, awesome. A really, really great draft. Really excited to see this new play.
Very excited to watch.
Also, once again, great job in this whole league. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I don't know how many you lost, dropped so few games, but nice job on that.
And also, I know this is your first experience with the Chicago Cube. You would not have known it based on your draft.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
Awesome. Let's talk to Will.
Yes.
You there, Will?
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. So, Will.
Is the audio okay?
Yeah, no, you sound great.
Great.
If you looked up the word Mardu in a dictionary, you would see your deck. Now, was that is your deck exactly what you were looking for? How do you feel like the draft went?
I think it went well. So I talked a bit about this in the in my plan in the is that I was definitely picking Legion Extruder first. There was no question about that. I knew Ellie wasn't going to take it because I generally know what decks they play, and they were not going to be picking a red card as their first pick. And I knew I'd never played with it, but I knew it was. I've heard other people talk about it, and I knew it was a good card in this cube. And I have played like the Aristocrats Artifact theme decks, so I knew that was where I wanted to start. But also, I've only played, I think, 2 Chicago cube drafts, and I didn't know exactly what deck to build with it, but I did see that there were a lot of different options I could have gone with a first pick extruder. And Mardu was definitely the top of the list, and clearly I pretty quickly went into it with the Duretti pick 3, solidifying me in Rakdos, and then the Animpa call, pick 9. But like when I was planning everything out, this was not necessarily a plan. It was like I was going to take Legion Extruder. I had a plan for Jeska. I had a plan for Mardu. I had a plan for Grixis. Basically anything that didn't have green, I had a plan for. And I kind of had a plan for Naya as well, just a very minimal one. But then like seeing what other people took, and then realizing that I just really wanted to have Doretti, and then I honestly expected with Tom in white, in Boros, and Vivian in white and a bit of black, and maybe splashing another thing. I expected an Impakal to go way earlier. So when it lasted pretty far down into the 9th pick, and I was thinking I already wanted to pick up a dual land, I figured, oh, it might make sense to pick one up that lets me splash into that. And so, yeah, that was kind of how I came about doing that. And then from that, after that Mardu was solidified, I was like, I'm going to focus red and just pick up black and white for support. Basically picked up almost no white cards other than like the multicolored and then some last pick cards that I didn't expect anyone else to take Dig Site Engineer, so I took it at near the end because I figured it might make the deck. But yeah, this was definitely not guaranteed going in, but it was like the highest likelihood of a plan. It just depended on what other people did.
Sure. No, I think that makes a ton of sense. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think this deck looks terrifying. I think Legion Extruder is a pretty great first pick. Those will definitely one on our list. And yeah, we were also talking about that 9th pick, an Impakal. That was very surprising to us, and I think seeing that, recognizing that, and jumping in on that scrubland and Impakal was like that just really upped the power level. Whether or not you even need to play the white, I don't know. Maybe it's free, but yeah, that was a really good recognizing that. I think was real strong.
If there was one thing that I really liked about your draft, Will, it felt like you always took like cards that fell at the perfect time, like 21st Torch the Tower. You got strangled pretty late. Would you say that there was something about the draft that surprised you that was still there when you got it?
I'm not even sure I'm going to play it. If I play white, I don't even think I'll play it. But the Den of the Bugbear 39th pick kind of surprised me. I think I'm just too used to creature lands being really good. But I guess in a 3-color format, it's a bit weirder. It's not as defined. But otherwise, yeah, nothing else really. It was like we were talking during the draft a bit, and it was interesting. It was like I was glad to see that a lot of the cards I was picking, people were agreeing that like they were considering picking in this round or the next round. So like the chainsaw was commented on that, and a lot of the lands, and like the non-Mardu aggro token artifact / token things were often like noted on that way. And yeah, I just tried to hold off on all the cards I was pretty sure no other deck wanted. Like the Ravager I probably would have taken way earlier if I thought other people wanted it. Same with like Brea's Apprentice. And then things like Strangle, I was just like, at that point I was like, there's almost nothing like left like this. I figure someone else is probably going to pick it up soon, so I should just get it now while I still can.
I think that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Again, like just kind of add to Connor's like to pile on. I think just seeing the timing of this draft was really impressive. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't care what other deck there is. I would be afraid to play this one.
100%. I think everyone's going to look to you as the threat going into the games. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. If we can get Eli in the chat next.
Hey, how's it going?
Eli, so Karn Cyan of Urza, pack one, pick one. Definitely something we were curious to see if you were still going to do.
Well, I have to ask, immediately following Urza, does that affect what happens afterwards?
Yeah, so going into the draft, I really actually wanted to pick Urza. I had thought about Karn and thought that was going to be my pick, but then before the draft started, I changed my mind and decided that if I was going to be artifacts, I was probably going to be blue regardless. So I was going to pick Urza, and then of course Anthony, right before me, snipes it out of me, and I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll take Karn. That was my other backup. I think it's a really powerful card to play on turn 4 and just make a construct in the right deck. That puts a lot of very high tempo on the board, and both the Planeswalker and the construct become a threat that needs to be answered. So I felt like even though I was following Legion Extruder and Urza, I could still, artifacts is a huge theme in this cube, so I could still probably make something work. So that's where that first pick came in.
Okay, great.
When did you decide to go into ban? I'm trying to remember. I guess the Bristol. Oh, you took Brenard in fourth pick or fifth pick, which was the earliest
Yeah.
lighthouse.
Yeah, that was the first one.
I like that. Yeah. And I think it really. I don't know about you, but to us, it really staked your flag. I thought it was a really. I don't think I expected the lighthouses to go that early, but I loved it, like when it showed up.
Yeah, that was my thinking, was to plant a stake in the ground. I had been thinking that the Bernard deck was one of the artifact variations that I might go into when I had been planning. And given that the other two artifact players looked to be doing more weldery stuff from that point in time, and there's a lot of cards, like all of the green artifact synergy cards, that's the only deck that wants to play it really. And on top of that, I think Bernard is one of the most powerful lighthouses in the cube. So all of those, I was just like, you know what? Let's plant my stake in the ground, pave myself a lane, and you can see I was getting like a lot of the key cards in the deck, like in the 30s. So it really worked out.
No, yeah, your deck really developed really well as time went on.
We talked about the Unctus into Essica with the Gilded Goose Birthing Pod, Unctus, Essica's Chariot, Elvis Archivage, Tough Cookie was just like an incredible run of powerful cards.
And then setting up the Transit Mage into double Gearhawk. I think you prioritized your picks with purpose, and I think you did a really good job at that.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt like in the middle of the draft, I was really eating things. Towards the end of the draft, I felt like there could have been a few things, maybe like a 2-drop, another really good Emery target that I could have used in my deck that I didn't get. But overall, I think the draft turned out really well for me.
I have one specific question related to that. Did you have any interest in a second bauble, or were you purposely avoiding that?
I did, but I wasn't going to prioritize it. To be honest, I figured that either Anthony or Will would have taken it a long time ago. So while I was like, the point of time at which I was thinking about it was when I was going on my Green Tear, Gilded Goose Birthing Pod, Unctus, Essica's Chariot, Elvish this Tough Cookie. That's when that stuff was happening. And at that point, I just wanted to solidify myself kind of in that pod archetype rather than get the Urza's Bauble at that point. But I would have taken Urza's Bauble like later on, maybe after I took the Gear Hulks if it was still in.
Sure, I think that makes perfect sense.
Eli, I have one last question.
Ooh, damn, with the
was there anyone in particular who really inspired you to try to jam the ban deck early? Just anyone you want to shout out for that?
Yeah. Sam, I gotta shout you out. I mean, like, I've seen you play this deck quite a few times. Honestly, I was considering taking Stride Hanger Automaton first instead of Karn a little bit earlier, because I think that card is so powerful. I did not expect it to get scooped up so early. That's why I didn't prioritize it. That is definitely a thing that my deck could really, I mean, my deck doesn't lack power, so it's not like, I'm missing out, but I think my deck could have really used it.
Good shout out.
Awesome. Well, you had a really, into the last pick, Eli, I think you had a really strong draft. You can see on like
40 seconds of Meshi. Oh my goodness.
Goose Mother, like really, I think you did a really good job, and thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I have like an insane wealth of playables, and yeah, putting cards in the sideboard is going to be a tricky endeavor.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough deck build for you. Can we get
Right,
Vivian in the chat, please?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. Vivian, pretty clear from the start you had a plan. You were trying to punch faces.
I joked you were playing Staff of the Storyteller Commander.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was loving it.
How do you, I feel like I know the answer to this, but how do you feel like your draft went?
I felt very good about my draft. It It was interesting. I went into it. I knew that I wanted to start Staff of the Storyteller. I would have started Legion Extruder. That wasn't happening. I think Yawgmoth is a better card than Staff of the Storyteller in a vacuum. But I felt really good about the blue-white deck, the white-black deck, and the white-red deck in this cube. And all of them love Staff of the Storyteller. So I thought, okay, if I can go Staff of the Storyteller, Adeline, I'm just setting myself up for any of those very, very powerful decks, whether I'm, going into Lingering Souls or going into Animpa Call or going into the white-blue list. Yeah.
If there was one thing that I really loved about your draft, was some of the value cards you got late, like 24 pick Sarah Paragon, but especially 16th pick Toby Beastie Befriender. How do you feel like you kind of prioritize your picks throughout the draft?
Yeah. Well, so Tom tried to take all the 2-drops. And that put some pressure on me. As far as how I prioritize my picks, I think this is a cube where like you want cards that provide continuous value, because outside of board wipes, like there's not really answers that can keep up with them so much. So I really liked, Staff, Adeline, Felidar Retreat, Glimmerlens, Skrellhive are 5 cards that provide continuous value. Cryptbreaker also. That was what I knew I wanted to prioritize, were those engines.
I think that's a really good analysis of the cube. I've been talking about for a week about how I think Staff of the Storyteller absolutely can go round 1. I love that card, and I think you showed why that card can be I think you're gonna draw so many cards.
And I also just think the engine of Cryptbreaker, it does a lot by itself, but you pair it with a card like Hostile Investigator, and then you just get this dual engine going that's just pretty hard to beat if it's unanswered.
Yeah. I was Stride-Herring Automaton went so early. I'm like, should I have second pick that? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know if Adeline would have come back, but probably. Looking at what the other people were in with their first picks, I think I could have grabbed Stridehanger and still gotten Adeline.
I can tell you for certain you would not have gotten Adeline back.
Why is that?
I think Tom takes it.
No, but it was going that way.
Tom wouldn't get a chance in this particular.
I think only Will. Maybe it would have put Will into white red, but other than that,
right. If I take Stridehanger, maybe Will goes to Legion Extruder into Adeline. But I can't regret Staff into Adeline.
No, I mean Adeline punches people pretty hard, so I think it's okay.
And then I think there was an interesting moment where I went Thoughtseize. I'm sure you were probably about to ask me that.
I actually really like the Thoughtseize pick.
Yeah, I was like, okay, what else is this deck doing? I could just keep taking white cards, but they do drop off, and I need to think all right, white is really good at getting a lot of value out on turn 3 and turn 4, so that by turn 5, turn 6, you're just forcing your opponent to take action or die. And it felt like some of these other decks are able to go way over me. They're able to wipe the board. And they've got certain synergies where Thoughtseize just felt like where I wanted to be, knowing that also comes with Lingering Souls and Tide Hollow Sculler.
Blood Artist.
Yeah, that Blood Artist was late.
Yeah,
that Blood Artist was late. I don't know if I'm running it. Probably. We'll see.
Hey,
because I don't have stack outlets.
Yeah, that's I don't know how you build your deck, but I know I like Blood Artist. There's not a lot of reach, if you will, in these lists, and I like Blood Artist there. You can't stack it, but they either block it or the creature dies. Still hits them. Obviously, however you build
board
it.
wipe insurance. It's absolutely board wipe insurance and reach that is going to be important in some of these matchups.
Of course,
absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you, Vivian. I thought you had a great draft, and I'm very excited to see how quickly you punch people when the game starts.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for organizing all of this.
Of course. Thank you for participating.
So,
we do have one more person to talk to.
Where's Tom at?
Where's Tom at?
Right here, best for last.
Okay. So Tom, I'm gonna ask you 2 questions right up front. First question, how'd your draft go? Second question, and honestly the more important question to me, how many colors are you playing?
I think, first off, I think the draft went well. These were like my 3, like, sickly Make-A-Wish child first 3 picks, and I got all of them. So I think afterwards, like the next 10 or so picks, I'm like, probably should have changed up the list. But overall, I'm very happy with what my draft did. I think I accomplished all of the things that I want, kind of all the big pockets of synergy that I wanted to accomplish, like the Exodia of all of the red cards that care about discard. And then I think I'm probably just doing like 2.5 colors. I'm thinking base blue, red, splash white. Although, I don't know, man.
So you're not playing Teeth and Wormlet?
The thing is that I was initially coming in hoping to be Naya.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot.
Yeah, that's why I thought you were going to go.
We said that what was it? We just Jetmir would have been way better than the Rabbit for you, but unfortunately
That
we
is
swapped it up.
exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Is that part of it is that it just wins games out of nowhere because Jetmir is that overrun, which is why I was so cranky when I realized that like 15 picks ago, someone had sniped up the new blue red card, the one that's the +1/+0 trample haste. And then I would just kind of like, as we were going, I was just like kind of talking myself out of it, and I was just like, screw it, I'll stake a little claim just in case something comes up, but like I was hoping to see if I could get like the tough cookie, like 1 pick after the consider, and like once that win is like, okay, I'm out.
Sure. When did you decide to go into blue? Was it when you took that ponder, or were you considering that sort of before that?
It was literally like around Anthony's pick before that ponder. Just I was
Okay.
looking at the cube list and it was just seeing ponder and preordain next to each other, just like ignited caveman stuff in my brain. Like,
Love it.
ooh, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah, you did that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Narset. I'm so excited. Like, this is my favorite deck now.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if Narset is like the best of the lighthouses, but I feel like it's definitely the one that every time I see it, it's like this game has become a problem.
It has it might have the highest ceiling. I don't know if it's like best, but it especially if you put a rabbit battery on it, it could represent it's just an unbelievable amount of damage out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is the whole list or not, but that's I'm also just a huge fan of that. So.
Yeah. She's an awesome girl.
Well, awesome. I mean, that pretty much answers the questions that I have. Getting the Angel of Invention 43rd, by the way, was clutch.
I was surprised.
So were we.
I think, I don't know if anyone else wants to speak to this, but our assumption is that a lot of what happened here is like we're used to looking at these cards, we're not familiar with the list, and they're just kind of text. It's just kind of text on a spreadsheet, and it's easy to overlook something really obvious. I have to imagine. I don't know, not no particular example of that, but I just have to imagine that's something that would happen to anyone. I think there was something in here that just felt like people forgot about them.
Red Tumas.
Red Tumas, maybe.
Yeah.
For no one in particular, just some of these cards went really late.
Yeah, it's definitely
Tristani.
part of it is like just like being able to see like the thing about looking at them in a spreadsheet is not seeing the power and toughness and like the amount of punch you get for a card. We think of the mana cost, we think of the ETB, but like something like say what's it called, the black mobilized card, like being the 2/4, like just like an amazing like shut down the field. And it's something that's something that's easy to kind of like sneak by when you're just thinking about cards as like synergy and abilities.
Right. No, that was just something we were kind of aware of. We did spend a lot of time looking into how to get these cards to display, but a lot of the typical methods don't interact with Google Sheets, unfortunately. So
Well,
we'll see if we can figure it out.
Well, there is a I'm not sure if it works with Google Sheets. but
Auto
my
Card
friend-
Anywhere does not work with Google Sheets, if that's what you're about to say. And
This
they're like
was
our
about-
Scryfall APIs we can install. I'm just like it's going to take me more than the 4 hours we had to figure it out. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Do you have any last questions for any of the drafters?
I don't have any last questions. No, I think just from my side, this was super fun to watch.
Yes.
I can't wait to watch these games, and I also kind of I don't know. I want to draft.
Yeah, no. To pull it back on us, this was a lot of fun.
This was
And,
great. This was great.
Again, thanks to all the drafters that participated. Thanks to anyone who played in the Cube League, even if it was just for a week. We appreciate that so much. The fact that we have like a community that's big enough to do Cube Leagues and to do cool things like this is really awesome. And I think I hope, and I think I speak for the other two when I say this, it's only the start.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not done.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. Let's go.
Before we call it a night, is there any people you want to thank?
Yeah, so I mean, you did thank our our drafters. Definitely want to shout out Good Games Chicago. They let us draft every week for free, and I think that just the more I learn about other Cube groups, the more I realize that is actually a privilege. And so I just want to thank them forever for that. Once again, thank you to Anthony Maddox and the Lucky Paper crew for making this amazing spreadsheet.
Yeah.
This would have been way less fun if this thing didn't work the way it did. So that's incredible. And shout out to Sam who put up to he made this whole thing like a weekend.
Shout out to Sam.
So, and he's been running in the background. That's been awesome.
Get over here, Sam. Yeah. We'll end with all three of us in front of the camera.
Yeah, and I think that
and
was it. Right?
we should just do a special shout out to, at least from the drafters' perspective, to all Sam, Kyle, and Connor. They've been working on this cube for so long, dozens of iterations. Each iteration is slightly better than the next, and I don't know. I mean, it's a cube that feels very different from a lot of the I'm gonna make a cube and see what happens, and then it turns into vintage cube. I guess I'll just pick the cards I've seen before.
That was the thesis.
Engines and it's encouraging interesting deck building, and there's powerful cards, but the powerful cards, it doesn't feel like any of the cards are unbeatable, which I know that does happen with some other cubes that I've played. And also the fact that just being in this environment that you guys started fostering has made me so much better. And also meeting new people, which I don't know, I just have a lot of gratitude for you three.
I mean, we have just as much gratitude for you for sticking with us for as long as you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have. This is actually we had a different cube group with way less. It was just way less of a cohesive group. So this is it's just really great.
Before we sign off, do you have anything to add to this? Sam, how do you feel? You've been behind this camera the whole
Yeah. So the being as part of the call with the other drafters, I really got to see the introspection that they had from just cards in the cube. I do think what Kyle said is very important. The reading the card off the page definitely gives a different feel. I feel like simply just reading the card 1/1 flying death touch when it enters the battlefield, draw a card, really kind of changed someone's thought process on some of those cards. And I think that's just a very basic example, but I think it's one that's pretty important with the way this draft played out. I think these games are gonna be sick.
Oh, I can't.
I think there are. I think 7 of the drafters did a really great job. I won't say who. All I will say is that next week it'll either be Monday or Tuesday. Ideally, we're going to host these matches. Everything's going to be played on MTGO. The entire cube is on there, so all the players will get the cards, build their decks. At some point this week, we're also going to try to get access to their decks ahead of time, so we can kind of talk about the matches. Everything is not necessarily fully open deck lists. We're not going to necessarily give everything, but we're just going to try to talk about those maybe interesting sideboard cards, and just try to get everyone on the same page of what the matches are going to be, and then we're going to play it out. Really excited to see these games. Whoever's going to take it home is going to be doing a really, really good amount of work to get there, but it's going to be sweet, and can't wait for the next one too.
Whoever trophies this pod, it will be an earned trophy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, this
One thing I want to add to that real quick is if playing on Magic Online is like a problem for you, just shoot us a DM. We can figure out somehow to facilitate that. If you don't have a lot of experience, you feel like you're going to misplay, or you don't have an access to account, whatever, just shoot us a message. I'm sure we can solve that problem. Maybe that's not a problem. I just want to throw that out there.
Just FYI, I hadn't played Magic Online ever before, like a couple months ago, and I started doing online drafts, mostly with Sam and Andy. And it's not the easiest, but you pick it up semi quickly, and yeah, if you haven't done it before, you'll get there. It won't take super long, and if something happens where it's like, oh, I meant to click this button to attack and I forgot to click that button, then usually we are like, well, this is what would have happened. I would have taken this much damage, so really we're going to pretend like I'm at this much life. So I think
it's a lot of workarounds for it.
Right.
Big deal.
Also, maybe we can do Wednesday. If someone will just get some. It's been a while. We can draft this Wednesday. Something else. Just get some reps in. Whatever. Again, we'll just shoot us a message. We'll figure out what happens, and it's gonna be. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Sweet. Well, on that note,
I think we're good.
I think we're good. If you watched and you weren't part of the league, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you join us next week. If you want to recap any of the draft and any of the games they're going to play, we'll be posting this on the YouTube channel as well. All of the links for our social medias and the YouTube are in the bio of this Twitch channel. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you guys. Bye.